On this, the Thursday edition of the Dan O'Donnell Show, truly one of the strangest exclusive investigations we have ever, or perhaps will ever present. Is one member of Congress from Wisconsin actually cyberstalking another? We dug into the data and found compelling evidence that Democrat Madison Congressman Mark Pocan actually does meet the definition of cyberstalking, or at the very least, cyber harassment, in the sheer volumes of tweets that he has sent at Republican Wisconsin Congressman Derek Van Orden. I actually dug through the data, years worth of Pocan tweets, and found the shocking number of tweets that Pocan has been sending at Van Orden. You won't believe the results of this exclusive investigation coming up in just a second on the Dan O'Donnell Show. You want to join us? 414-799-1130. You can also reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476. Email me, dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube. We are streaming live via the Dan O'Cam at all of them. Watch the show, join the conversation on X, on Facebook, on Insta, on YouTube. Heck, we are so active in streaming. We even stream live on LinkedIn. Why? Because, I don't know, it's there to do something. We might as well use LinkedIn for something other than wishing your connections happy work anniversaries. Honest to goodness, that is the only time. I can always tell when I'm reaching a work anniversary because I get about 5,000 messages on LinkedIn. Incidentally, my work anniversary here at iHeartMedia is in January, right around Martin Luther King Day. Please do subscribe to the Dan O'Donnell Show podcast on iHeartRadio. Also, Forgotten History with Dan O'Donnell, a brand new episode dropping live on the radio and on iHeart simultaneously. The real first president. No, George Washington wasn't the first president of the United States. Well, he was, but he wasn't the first person to hold that title in a free America. Now, you might have heard the myth about someone who did. That is incorrect. We actually did some research and found the real first president of the Confederation Congress to serve in a free America. His story is absolutely fascinating, and we will tell it coming up at about 5:30 this evening. The daily Trump date, President Trump diagnosed with a disease. Fortunately, it is not severe. It is benign. In fact, and the surprising reason that he has got bruising on his hands. That coming up in the daily Trump date. We named the unhinged liberal of the day, unsung hero of the day. We are also on Governor Evers' watch. Multiple sources are telling me, and a number of people, apparently the chatter is growing to a deafening level at the state capitol in Madison, that Tony Evers is not going to seek a third term, that in fact he has decided that 2 terms is enough. He's going to make the announcement at some point in the very, very near future. This does track with reporting we did yesterday exclusively here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, that pretty much every Capitol insider, and I'm talking very high-ranking people, both Democrats and Republicans, that I have spent the past couple of days talking to, all unanimously agree that Evers is not going to seek a third term. He is, in fact, going to call it a career. He's 73 years old. He said he was going to wait until after the budget was passed. Well, shortly after July 4th, it was. Now he is on the clock. And as we reported, taking a look at his campaign finance disclosures, he's only raised $750,000 up to this point, whereas in 2021, the same point in his reelection bid in the 2022 midterm and gubernatorial election, he had raised about about $5 million. He's got $2 million right now in cash on hand. Same point, July 2021, he had $7 million. So the fundraising would certainly tell the story, just as it has with Rebecca Bradley, the incumbent conservative Wisconsin Supreme Court justice, who has raised a grand total of $0 for her reelection bid next year, fueling rampant speculation and I think informed speculation that she is likely not going to seek another 10-year term on the court. Sizzling summer cash contest time. The word this hour, bills, B-I-L-L-S, bills. You have got until 55 past the hour to go to our website. Enter the keyword bills to enter the contest for this hour. Again, B-I-L-L-S. Pay some bills with $1,000 in your pocket. Your chance to win right now. Also 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock coming up here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. It is well known that Wisconsin Congressman Mark Pocan and Derek Van Orden do not like each other. In fact, hate might not be a strong enough word for the feeling that those two share. It is mutual. It is very public. The two have been trading barbs on X for some years now. But Pocan's behavior and the sheer number of times he has tweeted at Van Orden suggests that this is something a little bit more serious. Van Orden will engage with Pocan on X periodically, much less often than he used to, and the interactions have become decidedly one-sided. Most recently, Pocan has been demanding that Van Orden debate him on President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill. At one point, I actually jumped into the fray after Pocan tweeted multiple times that he would debate, quote, anytime, anywhere, in his district, in Van Orden's district, wherever. Seeing as this radio show is broadcast in both districts and across the state of Wisconsin, across the world on the iHeartRadio app and streaming on the DanoCam, I said, all right, Congressman Pocan, I am hereby offering my show and my services as a moderator in a debate between Congressman Van Orden and yourself. I made this offer publicly, and I made it multiple times on multiple social media channels. In fact, last week, I made it again on the radio. I have not heard back from Congressman Pocan, and Congressman Van Orden, while he seemed very eager to debate Pocan, was slightly hesitant, saying, and I quote, I don't want to give any more fuel to this guy's delusions. At that point, I thought, this is rather odd. Congressman Van Orden and I are at least friendly. I don't know if I could consider any congressman or any politician a quote unquote friend, but he and I are on very good terms. I've known him since he was first elected to the Wisconsin Congress. You would think he would jump at the chance to have a friendly moderated debate between him and Pocan. It wasn't until I started looking into just how many times in the past couple of days, weeks, months, and years that Pocan has been tweeting at Van Orden that I started to see a rather disturbing pattern. Pocan, as I joked yesterday, started to seem like the obsessed woman in a very famous movie called Fatal Attraction. And I joked about Van Orden's pet bunny being boiled at some point. I looked even further yesterday into today at the content and started counting up just how many tweets Pocan was sending Van Orden. And it is my belief that at the very least, this constitutes cyber harassment under Wisconsin law. You might scoff at the idea that one person as public as Pocan could cyberstalk or cyber harass someone as public as Congressman Van Orden, but the data and the definitions of cyberstalking and cyber harassment don't lie. Cyber Cyberstalking is commonly defined as the repeated use of electronic communications to harass or frighten someone, for example, by sending threatening emails. At no point have I thought or has Van Orden indicated that he was afraid of Pocan's interactions, but certainly, given how many of them there are and given the very hostile tone that they have taken, especially in the last couple of weeks, they could certainly and should be considered harassment. According to the website Keeper Security, cyberstalking is a type of stalking conducted using technology. It's characterized by repeated unwanted messages or using technology to monitor the victim's activities and location, threats to expose confidential information, and threats to the victim's safety. Pocan has never threatened Van Orden's safety. He's never threatened to expose confidential information or anything like that. But given the fact that he responds to pretty much every video that Van Orden posts of Van Orden meeting with constituents or talking to his followers about a vote of some sort, it does appear that Pocan is using his X account to monitor and then either mock or harass Van Orden every time he posts. Those messages are almost certainly unwanted by Van Orden, and they are repeated. Cyber harassment, also defined by Keeper Security, interchangeably used with online harassment, can refer to any kind of inappropriate, mean, or uncomfortable online behavior. Sometimes cyber harassment is also used to describe the same behavior as cyberbullying if the victim is an adult. Certainly, the attempts by Pocan to shame Van Orden for not debating him or voting the wrong way and encouraging all of Pocan's supporters to pile on Van Orden would fall under the category of a form of cyberbullying or cyber harassment. This is technically unlawful under Wisconsin Statute 947.0125, which prohibits sending messages with the intent to harass, annoy, or offend another person using electronic or computerized communication systems. This includes sending messages with obscene, lewd, or suggestive language. There has been thankfully no lewd or suggestive language sent between the two men, but Pocan frequently gets obscene in his tweets at Derek Van Orden. Harassment is further defined under Wisconsin statutes in Statute 813.125 as engaging in a course of conduct or repeatedly committing acts which harass or intimidate another person and which serve no legitimate purpose. Pocan may argue that his repeated demands that Van Orden debate him and frequent insults of Van Orden serve the purpose of highlighting Van Orden's voting record, but the fact that he does it multiple times per day, nearly every day, keeping up a pattern of such tweets over the course of at least 4 years, speaks volumes about the true intent here. Since July 1st, up through about 1 o'clock this afternoon, Pocan has sent 50 tweets at Derek Van Orden. Using Pocan's official @MarkPocan campaign account, he has two. One, Representative Mark Pocan, or @RepMarkPocan. The one he uses to essentially harass Derek Van Orden is @MarkPocan. Van Orden, too, has multiple X accounts, Rep Van Orden and @Derek Van Orden. And the two accounts that we're talking about here are @Mark Pocan and @Derek Van Orden. From July 1st up until about 1 o'clock this afternoon, and I checked a couple of minutes ago, and it seemed as though there were a couple of more tweets that Pocan had sent to Van Orden. there were 50 tweets that Pocan had sent, either directly responding to an @Derek Van Orden post or mentioning @Derek Van Orden. That is an average of nearly 3 tweets that Pocan has sent at Van Orden per day. This follows 21 in June, nearly 1 per day. In fact, across the 198 days so far in 2025, Pocan has sent 174 tweets at Van Orden. This tweet barrage goes in spurts. March, February, and July have been the most prolific. He averaged 1.77 tweets at Derek Van Orden in March, 1.32 per day in February, and 2.94 in July. I went back further to see how many times Pocan had tweeted at Van Orden for the past year. There were 145 from July 17th, 2024 to the end of the calendar year 2024. That means in the past 365 days, Mark Pocan has tweeted at Derek Van Orden 317 times, almost once per day, a constant stream of tweets. In 2024, there were a total of 273 tweets at Derek Van Orden. In 2023, there were 103 from Mark Pocan directly tagging Derek Van Orden. In 2022, there were 182 total tweets. From the end of 2021 to May 12th, 2021, there were 57. May 12th, 2021 is as far back as I could go searching the amount of times the account at Mark Pocan has tweeted at Derek Van Orden. Because of the sheer volume of these, because of the harassing, insulting, oftentimes obscene nature of these, it is very likely that Congressman Mark Pocan has engaged in a years-long cyberstalking campaign against Congressman Van Orden. Coming up after this break, we will ask Congressman Van Orden himself, does he feel as though Congressman Pocan is cyberstalking him? The exclusive investigation continues next.
The Dan O'Donnell Show is coming right back.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas.
T-Mobile Arena.
September 19th and 20th, streaming live only on Hulu. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage. Get tickets now at AXS.com.
Escape to poolside paradise at MGM Resorts in Las Vegas. Sip on a refreshing cocktail. Lounge in a luxury cabana. Earn on nonstop fun with MGM Rewards. Book a sizzling summer escape today. Visit MGMRewards.com for details.
Joseph, you're a business coach and owner of the EWH University for Small Business, looking to increase cash flow? Tune in to WISN Sundays at 11 a.m. for tips to grow your business successfully. To learn more, visit EWHUniversity.com.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MetaShare. Maybe you've heard joining MetaShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MetaShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 866-89-BIBLE. That's 866-89-BIBLE. 866-89-BIBLE.
The One Big Beautiful Bill spans over 800 pages and introduces provisions and policy shifts that could impact your taxes and retirement. It marks a significant overhaul of the government's role across multiple sectors. As the implications unfold, questions abound. Annex Wealth Management is hosting a webinar to address these concerns. Join us Wednesday, July 23rd at noon for a free webinar. We'll explore the latest updates and open the chat for your questions. It's a valuable learning opportunity for everybody. Register today at annexwealth.com/events.
When it comes to selling a home, it can be hard to know who you can trust. At Grandview Homes, our reputation is built on doing what we promise. No surprises, just an honest offer to buy your home. Get your no-obligation offer at grandviewhomes.com today.
Some things are easier said than done, like packing your carry-on and getting everything to fit. Whew. Other things are easier done than said, like getting $350 cash back when you open a new TrueStone checking account, so you can bag back some cash back to stash in your backpack. Hard to say, but easy to do, because our digital switch kit makes setting up your new TrueStone checking account practically effortless. Easy and $350? It's true, because we're TrueStone. Open by December 31st, and within 60 days, set up a $5,000 direct deposit and e-statements. Membership required.
I'm Total Health's Jay Johnson, The Falls and New Berlin. Seed oils, the number one source of calories in American diets, developed as engine fuel in industrial lubricants, only ended up in the food supply for profit. Seed oils cause arthritis, heart disease, metabolic syndrome, stroke, type 2 diabetes, obesity, cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, and chronic illness. Medical doctors prescribe dozens of pharmaceuticals for life to treat symptoms of those diseases. Why don't they tell you to stop consuming poison? I'll tell you why. You sick is profitable. At Total Health, we teach eliminating seed oils from your diet improves true health and how you feel. Total Health finds the root cause of your fatigue, weight gain, brain fog, sleeplessness, then works with you, the whole you, eliminating symptoms and the chronic disease causing those symptoms. It's not theory. Relativity equals expertise plus execution is true. Total Health's holistic practitioners utilize proven science to help you feel and truly be the most helpful and well you. TotalHealthInc.com. That's TotalHealthInc.com.
With warmer weather arriving, we all know our energy bills will be spiking right along with the temperatures. Your money will be flying out of your home faster than that expensive cold air you paid for. Hi, it's Jay Weber from my friends at Semperfi Roofing with a tip on how to beat the heat. The two main areas that a home loses cool air are from your roof and your windows, and those are the two areas that Semperfi specializes in. They offer a free 21-point roof and window inspection to find out if they're causing your AC unit to work harder, which can double or even triple your energy bills. Yes, it's free, and there will be no high-pressure sales tactics afterward. Usually, an inexpensive repair can fix any problems they may find, but if it's time for a new roof, you can get $500 off of your project, plus no interest and no payment financing until 2027. So set up your free, no-obligation 21-point roof and window inspection today. 262-600-2910. That's 600-2910, or online at SemperfiRoofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi.
Make News Talk 1130 WISN your number one preset on our free iHeartRadio app, powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
An exclusive investigation here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. It certainly appears that Wisconsin Congressman Mark Pocan, a Democrat, has been cyberstalking fellow Wisconsin Congressman Derek Van Orden, a Republican, for the past several years, tagging him on X in 789 tweets since May of 2021. This month, Pocan has tweeted at Van Orden nearly 3 times per day. Joining us now on the phone is Wisconsin Congressman Derek Van Orden. Sir, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
You're sure welcome, Dan. I appreciate it greatly. I'm in Washington, D.C., and we're working through a series of bills. And, I got elected to represent Wisconsin's 3rd Congressional District first, then Wisconsin, then the United States. That's for domestic policy and these sorts of things. National policy, military and stuff, we're external and then internal. But, yeah, so I'm here working every day. And as you mentioned, Mark Pocan, honestly, I believe he is mentally ill. And it's very disturbing to know that this guy is voting on very, very consequential bills. And he has some, weird, creepy internet stalker vibe going for me. And I honestly don't know what it is, but it is very, very disturbing.
Do you believe that you're the victim of cyberstalking or at the very least cyber harassment by Congressman Pocan?
Certainly harassment, obviously. I mean, the stalking, I need to look up the legal definition or have my folks do it. But yeah, it's wholly inappropriate. And let me tell you why, Dan. There's 2 active FBI investigations taking place right now because people are threatening the lives of me, my wife, and my children and my grandchildren. These are credible threats. There's a Joint Terrorism Task Force. They're looking into this stuff. And how this starts is people like Mark Pocan writing the most absurd things possible on these social media platforms. Now, I personally am not concerned about my security. I'm a retired Navy SEAL, senior chief with multiple combat tours. I'm actually the longest serving enlisted member of the military to ever get elected to Congress in the history of the country. So I'm not worried about me. But my children, my grandchildren, and my wife are very concerned. And here's something else. And I'm just going to use a term that I don't normally use. These scumbags today are going to be protesting outside of my house, my home.
Your personal residence, as part of the Good Trouble protests. Is that what they're calling it? Good Trouble?
It's a group of folks that are funding the folks that are running the negative ads against me. And this was announced at a fundraiser where the leading Democrat in a primary, Rebecca Cook, who I'll probably be running against, she was there. So Rebecca Cook knows that these people are going to be protesting outside of my home. It was made very public. The first really credible death threats. So she knows we have credible death threats against my children and grandchildren and my spouse. And Rebecca Cook still chose to say, maybe you shouldn't go to the guy's home. So it's really despicable and disgusting. Bring it back to Mark Pocan. I firmly believe that he has something going on with mental illness. And I do not mean to make light of mental illness. Right. I've been diagnosed with PTSD because of my military service.
Yeah.
I'm not taking that lightly. I mean, the guy actually needs treatment.
I couldn't agree more. And I say this as someone who has been diagnosed rather late in life with ADHD, who has struggled with anxiety throughout pretty much my entire life. I was, I think, wrongly diagnosed with general anxiety disorders, probably always ADHD. Nonetheless, I see that too. And I will be completely frank with you, sir. When Congressman Pocan was saying, I'll debate you, Van Orden, anywhere, anytime, and I offered my show, I was surprised. I said, look, I'll moderate. This is a show that airs all across Wisconsin. Everybody will hear it. Van Orden's district, Pocan's district. It'll be great, right? I'm thinking, of course, hey, ratings bonanza, right? I'll give you guys the entire 3 hours. I thought you would have jumped at the chance. And while you did say, okay, yeah, okay. But here, let me tell you, I don't think this guy is, how shall I put this delicately? I don't think he's operating with a full deck. I actually did what I think investigators should do, an investigative reporter should do, and kind of look into this. Okay, well, why is he, sending all of these? I actually just counted up just the sheer number of tweets. I can read some of them after we're done talking, sir, to the audience to get just kind of a feel of some of the stuff. It's just this constant barrage that I don't think I have ever seen from one, let alone member of Congress, politician to another, or somebody else in political public life. I've never seen this. And as someone who's been in politics for almost a decade now, doing a political talk show, filling in and doing commentary for even longer than that, I've had my fair share of scrapes with people, including Pocan. But the sustained level of tweeting at you just points to something that is not at all healthy.
No, it is not. Listen, man, this guy has had a long series of vitriolic unsubstantiated personal attacks. And he's been doing this over and over and over again. Here's the problem. So the media is cooked in the books for the Democrats. So Pocan will say something, and then everybody's like, oh, well, that's obviously true. It's not.
Right.
So I've been married for 31 years. I have 4 children. We have 3 of them with us. We lost our oldest daughter to cancer last year. We have 11 grandchildren. I'm a grandpa. And so I have dedicated my entire life to public service. And I don't mean standing behind a microphone, running my mouth. I mean, I physically put myself in danger to go and protect American citizens' rights. I've spent 16 full years away from home training for war or at war to protect American citizens. I love this country incredibly, more than you could possibly imagine. 69% of all of my legislation from last Congress was bipartisan. I'm co-sponsoring Democrats' bills now because they make sense. I made sure that we got language changed here in D.C. so that the JFC, the Joint Finance Committee, could make a change for the provider compensation so that now Wisconsin is getting an additional $1 billion a year for badger care. They proposed $25 billion for the entire country for rural healthcare infrastructure. And we said, no, that's not enough because America's huge. So we got that bumped up to $50 million. We're responsible for bringing $500 million back to the state of Wisconsin for rural healthcare development. I voted to make sure that seniors got a $6,000 tax break, that the ladies and gentlemen that are working so hard serving us in restaurants don't get taxed on their tips. There are manufacturing guys that are working third shift. They want to get a couple of extra hours. They're not getting taxed on their overtime. That applies to our police officers, our firefighters, our first responders. No tax on overtime. Made sure that the death tax is gone. We keep losing family farms because when you want to pass it from one generation to the next, you got to pay, or you used to have to pay 30%. And right. Farms are land rich and cash poor, right? So we did all this stuff, and all these things you're saying, they have to make things up, and they have been for years now, because we're actually working for the people.
Right.
That's why Polkan's doing this. It's a combination of mental illness and the fact that we've destroyed their entire election platform because we actually care about the people that we represent.
And it just seems to me, because I'm seeing all of these tweets, and I'm glad you went through all of the legislation that you've been a big part of, that you've passed, that you have sponsored, that you have gone to work for the people of your district on, because I am seeing tweets from Pocan at you over the course of years now at all hours of the day and night. I mean, it is near constant. And one of the big takeaways I had in looking at all this stuff was, when does this guy actually work? When does he put down X and actually go to work? When does he put the phone down, for goodness sakes? It is a very bizarre situation. Are you, what do you do from here? Do you block him on X? Do you just kind of keep ignoring him? Like, where do you kind of go from here now, knowing just how many times? I'm sure you probably get a notification or something like that every time he's tweeting at you. But where do you go from here with what I believe to be cyber harassment, at least?
I will not be blocking Mark Pocan on social media, because people need to know that he's got real serious issues. And what's great is he has essentially chronicled all of his own lies about what I'm doing in Congress. Because in some way it's comical. If you take the crap that he's been saying on social and then look at my voting record and the voting record of the Republican Party, he's 180 degrees out all the time.
Yeah.
So Mark Pocan is unwittingly verifying that the Republican Party is working hard for the working man and woman in Wisconsin. And that's what I'm doing. So I do, listen, in all seriousness, and I'll be frank, look, I have been diagnosed with PTSD because of my military service. Right. I've gone on national television. I've gone on our committee hearings and said this openly. I want anybody that has any mental health issues to immediately seek mental health treatment. 988 option 1 is the Veterans Suicide Prevention Hotline. I want people to do that, but Mark Pocan has got something wrong with him, and he needs to seek treatment. And also, by the way, if you listen to that video the other day, this is what sparked all this. When I said you're funneling money into your business, and he said you're lying, guess what? We posted, or somebody posted that I didn't know, and then I reposted the actual receipts. Mark Pocan's getting hundreds of thousands of dollars to his business politically.
Wait.
Now, I don't
Wait. What?
Wait, well, you didn't hear that?
No.
What?
You're breaking news to me, sir.
Dude. So I'm like, hey, Mark, you're getting, I said 500,000. And look back, I think the first one this last couple of years, like $380,000 or whatever, but there's additional stuff. Mark Pocan owns a sign company. Guess what they make? Political signs. And before 2020, before he got elected, they had zero income for this stuff. And now he's got hundreds of thousands of dollars going into his company for political signs.
Well, that's convenient.
From the Democrat Party of the state of Wisconsin, just to use the Mark Pocan vendor. Tammy Baldwin, everybody, they're paying him to do this stuff. And if you watch that video, he denied that was taking place.
Well, I certainly know what my
I don't even know who that person is. I just followed him back. Like, I don't even know who they are. They posted the receipts.
That
you know what? If you think that that's the only dirt on Pocan, you're wrong. Nobody has looked into Mark Pocan's record and what he does around the world. And now, because I don't know what's going on with him, we need to have, if you're an investigative reporter and you're listening to this, you need to look into Pocan objectively, and you're going to see a lot more out there.
Well, I can think of a lot more out there. I can think of one investigative reporter who is listening very intently to this, sir. I will be going immediately to your X account and be following up on this, because if what you're alleging is at all, I mean, I'm not.
They're public
obviously.
Documents, Dan.
This is.
Dan, it's not me typing stuff up on a Word document. They're public documents. They're public financial disclosure statements.
Well, I think I know what I'm doing this weekend. I just gave.
Hey, listen. One more thing.
Yes, sir.
While you're looking into his financial records, make sure you look into his travel records also. Just throwing it out there. Because I used to go find terrorists in caves. And that's really hard. It ain't hard to find unscrupulous and shady stuff on a politician named Mark Pocan.
Well, especially when he puts most of it out on Twitter. Congressman Derek Van Orden, joining me here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Sir, thank you as always for being about the most candid interview I think I've ever had. I always do appreciate it, and I'm sure we will be in touch.
Yes, sir. I got to get back to the foreign vote.
Yeah, please do. And please send my love and all of our listeners' prayers to your family. I know how terrifying death threats can be when they involve loved ones, and I really just do appreciate it. That is Derek Van Orden. I am hereby now offering a very public opportunity for Congressman Mark Pocan, who we have attempted to contact over the past several weeks about appearing on this show. I wanted to get a statement on my belief that he is engaged in cyberstalking and at the very least cyber harassment. I am offering Congressman Pocan the opportunity to come on this show. I will be very fair. I am not going to be accusatory. I would like him to answer why exactly he has sent so many tweets to Derek Van Orden over such a prolonged period of time, and whether or not he believes that this is behavior befitting a United States congressman. You are listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. We will be back with much more coming up next. Don't you dare go anywhere.
Catering to all who appreciate quality installation, a great value, and the finest windows and doors. Your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door. Find us at lisbonstorm.com.
Your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Dan O'Donnell here for my good friends at Mander Collision and Glass, the only place I've trusted my vehicles with for years now. Their customer service is impeccable, and their workmanship is so good, they guarantee it for life. But don't just take my word for it. Here's a 5-star review from Alana. Mander was amazing. From Noel at the front desk to Nikki, who helped coordinate my insurance and repairs, I could not have had a better experience. My 2021 Subaru Forester looks brand new. I honestly don't think I've had this great of a customer service experience in my life. I'll refer anyone and everyone to Mander if they ever find themselves in a bind. Thank you so much. No, thank you, Alana, for helping me spread the word about just how great Mander is. Wherever you are in the greater Milwaukee and Waukesha area, there's a service center near you. So start your repair now at mandercollision.com.
Full service MLS listing? Come on. Put simply, the absolute best way to sell your home is a Redefined Realty MLS listing enhanced by the EasyHomeBidder.com auction bidding platform. You get max profits and minimal contingencies. Buyers and sellers both love winning at auction. Traditional real estate agents put houses on MLS, then talk sellers into accepting offers. It's always been done that way. While buyers can still make a traditional offer, auctions powered by EasyHomeBidder.com allow every interested party to compete for your home through MLS and at auction on your terms. Sellers never lose a penny again. Dorothy's Ruby Slippers would not have sold for $28 million without an auction. Similarly, the maximum price of your home will only be achieved at auction. Traditional real estate agents sell ordinary MLS services. Redefines mentors of winning, enhance the home selling process combining auction and MLS. RedefinedRealty.com. Buyers win, sellers win. Real estate's future is now. Real estate for winners. RedefinedRealty.com.
For safe, purified water right from your faucet, the solution is crystal clear.
Any project, big or small, when it comes to water, one call does it all. SNK, pump and pumping.
I'm Victor Harding, a true trial attorney at Warshevsky Law. You've heard our advertising for years. While it's been effective introducing Warshevsky to injured people in need of maximum judgments and settlements, most of our clients come from personal referral. Referrals from former clients grateful for the settlement or trial judgment Warshevsky won on their behalf. Thus, they're recommending us to friends and family. Referrals from people in the community, including other lawyers and judges who want to make sure their friends and family are taken care of. Still not sure? Ask around. Warshevsky is referred by Wisconsin law enforcement officers who've seen Warshevsky attorneys in action, desperate to make sure friends and family receive just compensation. Insurance adjusters, often our adversaries, refer their family members hurt in accidents. They know the work we do. They all refer Warshevsky because, big case or small, we can help. If someone you love is injured, please let them know, because at the end of their ordeal, their injury is about the money. Warshevsky.com.
Dan here. It's This Week with Annex Wealth Management alongside the CEO of Annex, Dave Spano. And this week, we're still dealing with uncertainty in the markets. The uncertainty of tax policy has been alleviated by the passage of the One Big Beautiful Bill and the signing of it on July 4th. But looking ahead, there's still, Dave, a whole lot of uncertainty when it comes to President Trump's tariffs.
Yeah, there really has. Look where we've been in the last 90 days, shifting the trade responsibility from Navarro to Bessent. And then they cut tariffs from $670 billion down to $270. Reciprocal tariffs were delayed, and on and on. And the market just continues to go down the train tracks, taking it in stride. And so we'll see what happens come August 1st. But the other thing that you did point out, which is absolutely true, is that the big, beautiful bill is passed, and now we're starting to see that people will have more money in their pockets, from a higher standard deduction to enhanced deductions for seniors, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. All of this means that there's some planning opportunities. And we also have a webinar planned for our business owners coming up on Thursday, the 17th. We're going to talk about ideas for tax, estate, and retirement planning. So listen in, and we'll have an opportunity to have that. That's Thursday, the 17th, the One Big Beautiful Bill, what business owners need to know. Register now at events.annexwealth.com.
Whether or not you're on the webinar, and you definitely should be, you need to be planning for your businesses, your families, your loved ones' financial future. That is, after all, why we do all of this, to provide for those we care about. You need to head to annexwealth.com to get a review of your portfolio, to know what you own and why you own it. For Dave Spano, the CEO of Annex, I'm Dan O'Donnell. This has been This Week with Annex Wealth Management.
Injured? Call Gruber Law. One call, that's all.
Get into summer with iHeart 80s. Rewind to a decade in music that defined a generation. From Madonna to Michael and more. iHeart 80s goes commercial free this weekend and every weekend. Open the free iHeart app, search iHeart 80s, and make it your next preset. iHeart Radio.
Our thanks once again to Derek Van Orden for coming on the program to talk about what I believe to be a cyberstalking case, bizarrely enough, by another Wisconsin Congressman, Democrat Mark Pocan of the Madison area. I'm once again inviting Pocan to come on the show and answer for the years, and I mean years worth of tweets that he has sent at the @Derek Van Orden account. These all come from @Mark Pocan, 789 in just a couple of years. Just this month, he's averaging about 3 per day, as he has been demanding that Van Orden debate him on the one big, beautiful bill. He sent in just the first 198 days of 2025, 174 tweets at Derek Van Orden. This does not include additional tweets where he just mentions DVO Van Orden, Derek Van Orden, or any other number of search terms that I put in. This is just the number of tweets that he would send to the @Derek Van Orden account using the @Derek Van Orden handle so that Van Orden would see it, or would be able to see it. This is obviously excessive. It is obviously indicative of what I believe to be, and what Van Orden said, not entirely sane behavior. And I don't say this to, laugh at it and joke. Here, normally we do a segment called the Unhinged Liberal of the Day. I, of course, was initially going to name Mark Pocan as the Unhinged Liberal of the Day, but actually decided in the last couple of minutes against it, to not make light of what I believe to be very seriously disturbed behavior, certainly obsessive behavior. It's not as though Pocan is challenging Van Orden for his seat. You would imagine if both men were running for the United States Senate, okay, there is a legitimate reason to they just both happen to be congresspeople from Wisconsin. That is the only connection. And they are obviously diametrically opposed ideologically and philosophically. And for his part, Van Orden for a long time would engage back and forth with Pocan. There have even been news stories written about the animosity between the two. But this is the first time anyone really dug into just what it was that Pocan was tweeting at Van Orden and the sheer volume of tweets that he sent. Almost all of them are mocking, are insulting, are hostile in nature, and all of them, and I mean all of them, have an edge of anger. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show, Daily Trump Date, and much, much more coming up next.
4394 northbound at Howard. You got vehicle fire cleanup blocking all the mainline lanes. You are getting by, but very slowly on the left-hand shoulder. Solid delays back to the Mitchell interchange. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Terminix Batzner. Wake up every morning in a pest-free home with Batzner Pest Control's Pest-Free 365 service. Their year-round preventative pest control program. To learn more and to save $50 off your initial pest service, visit Batzner.com today.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell here, and you know me, I'm a bit of a skeptic, especially when it comes to who I trust with my home or my audience's homes, and I recently took a tour of the Weather Pro Exteriors headquarters in West Dallas with Bill and Andrew, and I came away very impressed. They look like a big national company and feel like a big national company with state-of-the-art equipment and a professional operation, but they are 100% locally owned, locally staffed, and locally focused. No outside investors, no corporate red tape, and definitely no Chuck in a truck just kind of showing up whenever for the job you book. Every decision is made right there in West Dallas with the customer and the company's skilled employees in mind, and that's how it should be. Right now, get $1,000 off a full roof replacement plus a $200 quick trip gift card, and check out special financing starting as low as $199 a month for new roofs. Schedule your project online at weatherproexteriors.com.
You've got apps for everything. Music, photos, even ordering coffee. But only one app gives you the live radio experience. It's radio your way. Anytime, anywhere. Join the millions already listening. The free iHeartRadio app. The #1 app for radio.
I'm Dan Voss from Cut and Go. Ugly and depressing and trees killed off by emerald ash, oak wilt, and Dutch elm disease are dangerous for friends and loved ones, even a potential liability. Slowly rotting, left-standing hardwood trees can weigh tens of thousands of pounds. Even seemingly smaller branches can weigh tens, even hundreds of pounds. With Cut and Go, there is no reason to risk injury or property damage. Live trees in precarious placement for an arborist to remove over homes, garages, commercial buildings, luxury landscapes are easily and safely laid on the ground by Cut and Go's NCCER crane-operated certified remote control automobile mounted articulating crane grapple saw operators. You can save big money and stock up on firewood by having Cut and Go put your trees on the ground for you to clean up or have a bonfire or split firewood, or we can take it all with us when we leave. A Tons of Trees movement. Cut and Go trees.com. That's CUTNGO trees.com. Once again, that's cutandgotrees.com.
We're the Libby family
at Do-It-Yourself Bathroom Center near State Fair on 62nd and Greenfield.
We're not a home center.
Everyone here is an expert who really knows their stuff.
Plus, nobody beats our prices. Remember our slogan,
I did it myself at Do-It-Yourself.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 255368.
At Wisconsin's own Accunet Mortgage, our closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 less than the banks or the mortgage guys with the Rocket for exactly the same rate. Find out how much you can save at accunet.com.
Bathfitter of Milwaukee will manage every detail of your remodel. No subcontractors, just skilled bathfitter employees overseeing everything from design to installation. With over 40 years of experience, they're the ones you should trust. Design your custom bath today and take advantage of 0% financing until 2030 or save up to $1,200. Call Bathfitter at 262-395-4925. Bathfitter of Milwaukee. That's 262-395-4925.
Toast to 25 seasons of American Family Field at the Brewers game on Friday, July 25th. Celebrate with a pregame ceremony, a postgame home run derby featuring Prince Fielder and more legends, plus special offers. Get your tickets at brewers.com.
Your home cleaning friend, it's Edelman again. Edelman.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MetaShare. Maybe you've heard joining MetaShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MetaShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 866-89-BIBLE. That's 866-89-BIBLE. 866-89-BIBLE.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the Annex Wealth Management Studios. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference. Listen to Benjamin Yount, weekday mornings 9 to 11 on News Talk 1130 WISN Milwaukee. And make WISN the #1 preset on your car radio and on the new iHeart app. Free never sounded so good.
Welcome to The Rock. I'm John Saucier, Fox News. President Trump wants to reopen the prison on Alcatraz Island after its doors closed in 1963. Fox's David Spunt's there at the prison with more on this possible reopening.
Attorney General Pam Bondi and Interior Secretary Doug Burgum, who came here, admitted that this is not going to be an easy climb. This building is rotting literally from inside. It's well over 100 years old with quite a history. However, they were sent here on a fact-finding mission from their boss, President Trump. We joined them for this exclusive tour. Check out the feasibility guys to see what it would take to turn Alcatraz into a working prison again.
The administration is already working on getting estimates on how much it would cost to renovate the prison. President Trump taking a swing at the large number of Republicans who are calling for the full release of case files related to sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, saying whoever's calling for the release has been duped by a hoax being pushed by Democrats. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt calling out Democrats today for their so-called hypocrisy in the matter.
The Democrats had control of this building, the White House, for 4 years, and they didn't do a dang thing when it came to transparency in regards to Jeffrey Epstein and his heinous crimes.
The FBI and the Justice Department out with a memo earlier this month saying a review of Epstein's case files had been completed and that there was no incriminating client list and his death in prison was indeed a suicide. And police officials arresting Seth Jason, a former government employee, accusing him of making threats against Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene near Capitol Hill. Interim U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, Janine Pirro, who shared details on the charges.
Jason is charged with threatening to murder Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, as well as members of her family.
The 64-year-old Maryland resident also had several belongings seized, including a flash drive, phones, an iPad, and more. At the close on Wall Street, the Dow was up 230 points. America's listening to Fox News.
A bit cloudy to start our day today, but some sunshine breaks through by this afternoon. Much cooler, high of only 70 with 60s lakeside as the wind turns to the northeast. Overnight clear, we'll drop into the upper 50s and then back near 80 tomorrow. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by Grand Appliance.
Let Tri-County Contracting take care of the outside of your home so you don't have to. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows from Tri-County Contracting. Call us at 262-679-6100 or visit us online at tricountycontractingwi.com.
You know, we've been fortunate enough to stick around for a pretty long time, and we've been able to thrive in sometimes some pretty rough conditions. And I'm pretty sure it has something to do with the homeowner's need to have properly functioning windows and doors. But I think a lot of credit needs to be given to expert advice. Our staff knows windows and doors intimately, and they have ready answers for problems that in a lot of cases, the other guys just couldn't solve. How many times have I heard a customer say, I should have just come here first? And I always say, well, I'm just glad you came. Because it feels good to help our customers, and we found that makes them loyal. They tell others, and they become loyal, which explains why we've been so fortunate. This is David Wilhelm. When you have an architectural problem that our vast and unique window and door selection can solve, or you just need something that the big box store told you could find here, come to 51st in Lisbon and visit Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Find out more at lisbonstorm.com.
With warmer weather arriving, we all know our energy bills will be spiking right along with the temperatures. Your money will be flying out of your home faster than that expensive cold air you paid for. Hi, it's Jay Weber from my friends at Semperfi Roofing with a tip on how to beat the heat. The two main areas that a home loses cool air are from your roof and your windows, and those are the two areas that Semperfi specializes in. They offer a free 21-point roof and window inspection to find out if they're causing your AC unit to work harder, which can double or even triple your energy bills. Yes, it's free, and there will be no high-pressure sales tactics afterward. Usually, an inexpensive repair can fix any problems they may find, but if it's time for a new roof, you can get $500 off of your project, plus no interest and no payment financing until 2027. So set up your free, no-obligation 21-point roof and window inspection today. 262-600-2910. That's 600-2910. Or online at semperfiroofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi.
Life can move fast, so when you want to sell your home, Grandview Homes will buy it on your schedule. We know your time is precious, and we won't waste it by giving you the runaround. Just a fair, guaranteed offer. Get your no-obligation offer at grandviewhomes.com today.
Life is unpredictable. Estate planning helps your family face the unknown when you are incapacitated or gone. Do you have a will and power of attorney ready? GrieveCivilLaw.com. Plan today. Have peace of mind tomorrow.
The real estate industry insiders know who to call when it's time to sell their home. This is Chris Leby with Lake Country Flat Fee. We've built up a solid track record of helping out our fellow real estate colleagues over the years. Former realtors, mortgage professionals, real estate attorneys. Being in the business, they know our reputation and they're confident we'll deliver them results and savings. Our sellers save about 50% versus a traditional 6% broker. To learn more or to schedule a free market analysis, visit our website at lakecountryflatfee.com.
From the road to the roof, S&K will fix your plumbing problems 24/7.
It would certainly appear that Democrat Wisconsin Congressman Mark Pocan has been cyberstalking, or at the very least engaged in a pattern of cyber harassment for the past several years against Republican Wisconsin Congressman Derek Van Orden. He has, since May of 2021, tweeted directly at Van Orden, or mentioned him in a tweet of his own, 789 times thus far this year. Since January 1st, 174 different tweets from at Mark Pocan to at Derek Van Orden in 198 days. He has picked it up in the last 17 days here in the month of July, tweeting at him nearly 3 times per day. This has been a sustained pattern going all the way back as far as I could find in the record of X, formerly known as Twitter, to May 12th, 2021. There were 182 tweets that Pocan sent at or to Van Orden in 2022, 103 in 2023, and 273 in 2024. He is well past that pace here in 2025. Van Orden, meanwhile, live on the Dan O'Donnell Show last hour, said yes, he does believe that Pocan has been cyberstalking him, although he wasn't sure about the specific legal definition, said absolutely Pocan has been engaged in a pattern of cyber harassment. That is the latest as we have it. Again, we are reiterating our call for Congressman Pocan to join us live on the air here on the Dan O'Donnell Show to explain himself, at the very least, to send a written statement to DOD@iHeartMedia.com. Everyone, by the way, is welcome to email me about anything and everything. In case you're wondering where we get a lot of these exclusive investigative stories, it's from you. If you see something that you don't think is quite right, you want me to take a look at it, sources are always fully protected. Just email me, DOD@iHeartMedia.com. You can also reach the Dan O'Donnell Show live on the AdventNows.com talk and text line, 414-799-1130, or toll free, 1-800-838-9476. Email me, as I said, DOD@iHeartMedia.com. Follow me on social media. Just don't tweet at me as obsessively as Mark Pocan does to Derek Van Orden at Dan O'Donnell Show there on Instagram, also at Dan O'Donnell Show, and Facebook as well. We are streaming live each and every day, as well as on our YouTube channel. 4 o'clock word in the sizzling summer cash contest. Cash, C-A-S-H, cash. You've got until 55 past the hour to go to our website, enter the keyword cash, and if your entry is picked at random, you win $1,000 in, as Randy Moss famously said, straight cash. Homie.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning.
Well, a whole lot of winning for the Trump administration.
We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
Time now for the Daily Trump Date, your update on all things Trump White House today. We try to time this for the commute home, as most of you have been working all day. You're unsure what was going on, what work has been done on your behalf by the Trump administration. Well, we're here to give you an update, or as we call it, a Trump date. President Trump has been diagnosed with chronic venous insufficiency, as White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt explained during today's White House press briefing. It is a totally benign condition. The president is in excellent health.
I know that many in the media have been speculating about bruising on the president's hand and also swelling in the president's legs. So in the effort of transparency, the president wanted me to share a note from his physician with all of you today. In recent weeks, President Trump noted mild swelling in his lower legs. In keeping with routine medical care and out of an abundance of caution, this concern was thoroughly evaluated by the White House medical unit. The president underwent a comprehensive examination, including diagnostic vascular studies. Bilateral lower extremity venous Doppler ultrasounds were performed and revealed chronic venous insufficiency, a benign and common condition, particularly in individuals over the age of 70. Importantly, there was no evidence of deep vein thrombosis or arterial disease. Laboratory testing included a complete blood count, comprehensive metabolic panel, coagulation profile, D-dimer, B-type natriuretic peptide, and cardiac biomarkers. All results were within normal limits. An echocardiogram was also performed and confirmed normal cardiac structure and function. No signs of heart failure, renal impairment, or systemic illness were identified.
Okay, if you were having trouble following that, you're not alone. It basically means, in layman's terms, everything was just fine. As for the bruising on the president's hands, Leavitt said, well, that's because he shakes so many hands and he's on blood thinners as part of a normal protocol for a man of his age. It's causing light bruising because he's shaking so many hands. Isn't it refreshing to get such a thorough, open, and transparent accounting of a president's health after what we went through for the past 4 years? Meanwhile, at that same White House press briefing along those same lines, Leavitt announced that the White House has launched an investigation into former President Biden's use of the auto pen.
The White House counsel's office has launched their own investigation into former President Biden's usage of the auto pen. We have requested some documents from the National Archives. And again, as I've said many times from this podium, and the president has said as well, it's incredibly important that we get to the bottom of who really was at the tip of the spear in the decision-making process here in the White House, because former President Biden himself admitted to the New York Times, I understand he never gave interviews when he was here, but now all of a sudden he wants to give one. And he said that he did not actually review every single pardon that he signed on his way out the door. That's incredibly concerning. And I can tell you it's something this president would never tolerate. This is a president who is signing things all the time. Any document that has legal implications, this president's signature is on it because he's the one making the decisions. It does not appear that was the truth in the previous White House. And I know the American people want to receive answers on who was running the show, because the decisions that were made in this place really destroyed our country. And we deserve to get to the bottom of it.
In the House of Representatives today, votes and debate expected on the president's $9 billion rescissions package that passed the United States Senate on almost a party line vote. A couple of Republicans joined every Democrat in opposing the cuts, including to NPR and National Public Broadcasting, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, public television, basically. It was Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins, in case you actually needed to know. The deadline is Friday to pass those cuts. It is expected that the House will pass them and send them to the president's desk for a final signature. That, ladies and gentlemen, is your daily Trump date. President Trump has been on quite the run over the past month. In the Washington Post today, Mark Thiessen, or is it Thiessen or Thyssen? I'm never quite sure. He's been a speechwriter for George W. Bush. He's been a pundit forever, and I'm still not entirely sure how to pronounce his name. He did a fantastic rundown of the incredible month that the president has had. Consider, 3 weeks ago, Trump launched unprecedented military strikes that wrecked the Iranian nuclear program. 4 presidents promised to stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, but only Trump actively halted it. And then he brought the war between Israel and Iran to an end after just 12 days of fighting. He then had a triumphant NATO summit in the Netherlands, getting allies to agree to spend 5% of gross domestic product on defense. When Trump took office in 2016, only 3 allies were meeting their commitment to spend a modest 2% of GDP on defense. Today, all allies except Canada are on track to reach 2% by the end of 2025. And thanks to Trump, they are now preparing to more than double that commitment. 9 years ago, critics feared he would destroy the Atlantic Alliance. Instead, as President Alexander Stubb of Finland put it, Trump has ushered in the birth of a new NATO. While all this was going on, Trump won 3 major Supreme Court battles. A decision that curtailed the power of district court judges to issue nationwide injunctions, blocking him from implementing his policies. A second, restoring the rights of parents to opt out of LGBTQ plus indoctrination in public schools. And a third, upholding his right to fire tens of thousands of workers across the federal government. This brings his record to 11 Supreme Court victories so far in his second term. He sent the National Guard in June to help quell immigration riots in Los Angeles and drove illegal border crossings to a virtual halt, with apprehensions and encounters at the U.S. southern border last month reaching the lowest levels ever recorded. He struck new trade deals with Indonesia and Vietnam, a major blow to China, and ramped up the pressure on other countries to come to the negotiating table. The job market exceeded expectations, adding 147,000 jobs in June. He forced the University of Pennsylvania to ban biological males in women's sports, restore women's records, post the definition of a woman on its website, and apologize to female athletes it harmed. In the past week, the news broke that Columbia University is nearing a $200 million settlement with the Trump administration over anti-Semitic civil rights violations on campus. He passed his One Big Beautiful Bill, making his 2017 pro-growth tax cuts permanent and delivering on his promise to working-class voters to eliminate taxes on tips, overtime, and Social Security. It also increases defense spending and funds his Golden Dome defense shield to protect America from ballistic missile attack. And the U.S. Army, Navy, Air Force, and Space Force met their 2025 recruiting goals months ahead of schedule. He brokered a peace deal in late June in the decades-long conflict between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the third conflict. India, Pakistan, and Iran, Israel are the others that he has helped end since taking office. And on Monday, Trump announced that the United States was sending new weapons worth billions of dollars to Ukraine, paid for by the European allies, not American taxpayers, including vital Patriot air defense batteries to protect Ukrainian cities from Russian bombardment. And he gave Russian President Vladimir Putin 50 days to end the war or face crippling secondary tariffs that could drive Russian oil and natural gas from the global market, crushing the Russian economy. Putin should look at what happened when Iran ignored Trump's deadline and think hard about his next move. All that in 1 month. Love him or hate him, that is objectively a stunning string of accomplishments. That's Mark Thiessen, or Tyson, writing in the pages of the Washington Post. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. It is conservative thought, not just talk, and it's coming right back.
From the Lynch Buick GMC of West Bend Total Traffic Center.
Northbound 4145, 20 minutes from the zoo up to Good Hope. Southbound about a minute more. Got a crash on the ramp from Appleton. 43 northbound, 16 up to Brown Deer, southbound 17. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest Total Traffic.
Shop Grand Appliance for extended July 4th specials on top brands like LG. Plus, get hundreds in additional savings you won't find anywhere else. Learn more at grandappliance.com or your local Grand showroom. That's Grand Appliance. Appliance experts since 1930.
This report is sponsored by First Choice Heating and Cooling.
This heat is unbearable.
Keep your family comfortable with First Choice Heating. For a limited time, get $89 off your AC and heating tune-up. Milwaukee's trusted HVAC company, firstchoiceheating.com.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas.
T-Mobile Arena.
September 19th and 20th, streaming live only on Hulu. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage. Get tickets now at AXS.com.
The 2025 iHeartRadio Music Festival is brought to you by Metro. With their new lower prices, the celebration starts way before the festival. Big savings so you can focus on your favorite artist, not your phone bill. Only at Metro by T-Mobile.
Dan O'Donnell here for Mander Collision and Glass, which really is your best decision after a collision. I've been trusting my vehicles with Mander for years, and I've referred dozens of family members and friends there. All of them say the exact same thing as Mander customer Adam, who left this 5-star review. Your car will be in great hands here. Brian and Crystal took amazing care of my BMW M4. I had dents and scratches from a tree branch falling on my car, and they made sure that the car was taken care of. Everyone at Mander was professional and timely. I hope I don't need their services anytime soon, but if I do, I'll be back. Mander has locations across the greater Milwaukee and Waukesha area, so getting to one is easy and convenient. And starting your repair is just as easy and even more convenient. All you need to do is head online to mandercollision.com.
We're the Libby family
at Do-It-Yourself Bathroom Center near State Fair on 62nd and Greenfield.
If your bathroom needs work, we're the place to go.
Our people really know their stuff, and we install.
Plus, nobody beats our prices. Remember our slogan,
I did it myself and do it yourself.
Join the Brewers as they celebrate 25 seasons of American Family Field at the game against the Marlins on Friday, July 25th. Be here for the return of Brewers legends like Ryan Braun and Prince Fielder as they'll battle former Brewers in a post-game home run derby. Plus, take advantage of special anniversary promotions like discounted draft beers and brats, 25% off at the Brewers team store. All activities featuring alumni will be free for fans in attendance. Get your seats at brewers.com.
Academic Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 255368.
Don't settle for a flimsy bank pre-approval. Get the pre-approval listing agents and sellers recognized as better than the rest. The rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet. Get yours by clicking on the blue button at accunet.com.
Remember mixtapes?
Mixtape? Can you buy that at the hardware store?
It's not that kind of tape.
To make a mixtape, you would dub all your favorite songs onto one cassette.
Oh, I was more of an 8-track guy myself.
You know, the new Marshfield 7000 Sulfat Penny Mustard reminds me of the world's greatest mixtape.
We have taken the latest and greatest components of every Penny Mustard configurable sofa and mixed them all together into one.
The Marshfield 7000 is the ultimate sofa.
It's absolutely stunning.
And the comfort level is off the charts.
I definitely see this sofa going all the way to number 1.
It's kind of like a greatest hits album, except you can sit on it.
The Marshfield 7000 sofa, made in Wisconsin with a solid wood frame and hundreds of fabric and leather options, starting at just $21.26 at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
Better versions of what people want.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
We use powerful truck-mounted carpet cleaning units designed to remove even the toughest dirt, and certified cleaning technicians who understand the definition of clean.
Edelman Carpet Furniture and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules. Make News Talk 1130 WISN your #1 preset on our free iHeartRadio app, powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
Blunt force from an honest man. The Jay Weber Show, weekday morning 6 to 9 on News Talk 1130 WISN.
Coldplay is coming to Madison. They are going to play Camp Randall Stadium this weekend. And I have a tip if you are going to the show. If you are there with someone who is not your wife, try to avoid getting friendly with her on the Jumbotron. In one of the most hilarious videos I have seen in quite some time, if you're not on the internet, go to any social media site, whether it's X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, it doesn't matter. The internet is going absolutely insane over this video because it is so funny. Andy Byron, the CEO of the New York-based firm Astronomer, it's an AI company, was there with the chief of human resources for his company, Kristen Cabot, who is most definitely not his wife. They can be seen as the camera at this concert pans the crowd. They are standing in an area where it's just the two of them, and they're very friendly. The man, Byron, has his arms lovingly around Kristen, and it's just a cute moment. The camera operator clearly thought, oh, look at this husband and wife. They're jamming out. They're having a special evening listening to Coldplay. They immediately freeze. Byron sees that he's on the Jumbotron and he immediately lets go of Kristen and he jumps down. He ducks down out of the view of the camera. Meanwhile, she tries to duck out of view of the camera as well, looking equally horrified. I don't know if it has yet been confirmed that they were having an affair. This happened, by the way, at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts, at the Coldplay concert. In fact, you can hear Chris Martin, the lead singer of Coldplay, talking about them. He says, oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy. The two are definitely not married. The wife has been identified, not Kristen Cabot, and the internet is sending its condolences, its love to her. Also last night, I've got to get to this because this was equally hilarious. I think you folks have been aware of my declaration that Shane Gillis is the best stand-up comic working today. He is absolutely hysterical. In fact, for my birthday, which was this Saturday, my family got me 4 tickets to go see Shane Gillis. They got great seats when he's coming to the Pfizer Forum, I believe, August 23rd. And my wife and my 2 sons are going to go. We're going to have a nice family night out. My daughter, probably way too young for Gillis's decidedly adult brand of comedy. But I think the guy is absolutely hysterical. He does a dynamite Donald Trump impression. He's perhaps most famous for years ago. He was hired as a cast member on Saturday Night Live, but was fired when old offensive tweets surfaced. He came back and hosted Saturday Night Live last season. He did a very, very funny bit on the Trump sneakers where it's like Mike, where the shoes make the kid like Michael Jordan when he plays basketball. It doesn't make you better at basketball. It just gets people to think that you're better at basketball because you constantly tell them that you're better at basketball, sort of like what Trump does. And then it ends with the new Air Bidens. The guy puts them on and he immediately falls over like a decrepit old man. Absolutely hilarious. So Shane Gillis was hosting the ESPY Awards last night, and everyone is up in arms. This is one of the funniest monologues that anyone has done. These are the sports awards that are done after the All-Star game every year. And everyone is up in arms over a joke that he told about Caitlin Clark, the WNBA superstar who keeps getting roughed up by the angry black lesbians of her league who are so honked off that a heterosexual white girl is getting all the attention and dominating them. Here's Gillis's monologue.
A big year for the WNBA. I love Caitlin Clark. Yeah, hell yeah. Caitlin Clark, she and I have a lot in common. We're both whites from the Midwest who have nailed a bunch of threes. All right, there you go. Lighten up a little. This is not serious. We'll see about this one. When Caitlin Clark retires from the WNBA, she's going to work at a Waffle House so she can continue doing what she loves most, fist fighting black women.
I've heard that joke like 5 times. It's still funny. It is still very. Now, oh my goodness, how dare he say? Was he ripping on Caitlin Clark? People are. No, he was ripping on the fact that the angry black lesbians of the WNBA can't stop flagrant fouling her. It took another attractive heterosexual white woman, Sophie Cunningham, to finally stand up to all the angry black lesbians of the league and just flagrant foul, just throw some girl to the ground after she flagrantly fouled Caitlin. And Cunningham came out and said, look, the refs aren't protecting the best player in the league. I guess it's going to be me. Do you know what happened to Sophie Cunningham? She instantly gained like 1 million followers on Instagram and became a cultural icon. Apparently the race war is being fought in the WNBA as people who don't seem to know a thing about basketball are all trying to pretend that Angel Reese is somehow better at the game than Caitlin Clark is because she gets rebounds, many of them off her own misses. One of the funniest things I have seen is a group of dudes who videotape themselves betting every single game for Angel Reese to miss her first shot. And they film their reactions when she makes or misses her. I'll spoil the ending for you. Most of the time she misses her first shot. They put Angel Reese on the WNBA edition of the NBA 2K26 game. Because clearly all of the little girls who are going to buy the first of all, does anyone actually play the WNBA version of NBA 2K6? No, probably not. The only way you're going to get people to buy it is to put Caitlin Clark on the cover. Everybody knows this, but the angry black lesbians of the WNBA clearly will not allow it. Now, everybody's talking about this Caitlin Clark joke that Gillis told. He actually told one that is a far better commentary on the WNBA that is not getting nearly the recognition that it should. Here it is.
Four-time WNBA All-Star Brittany Hicks is here. Give it up for Brittany, everybody. I'm joking around. That's my friend's wife. I knew none of you knew WNBA players. That's crazy. You clap for that.
That is hilarious. These are sports. It's not like this was at the Emmys where people wouldn't even know who LeBron James is. This was at the Sports Awards. He got them to admit that they know nothing about the WNBA except the fact that they don't want Caitlin Clark to be the face of it because the angry black lesbians would be even angrier if everyone just admit the obvious. The only reason people even care about the WNBA is because of her, not Asia Wilson, who is a great player. And folks, at this point, I think I will point out that for years, I was the PA announcer for the Marquette University women's basketball team and watched and loved a whole ton of women's basketball. I still follow the women's basketball team at Marquette. It's my alma mater, so go figure. I follow all of the teams at Marquette, men's and women's. But there's a special place in my heart for women's basketball. I was also doing women's volleyball and women's soccer. So I love women's sports, okay? I am not, one of you, who cares about the WNBA? You know what? They're athletes. And Caitlin Clark is the best thing to happen, not just to the WNBA or women's basketball, but to women's sports in decades. She is a phenomenon. And the fact that you've got a bunch of angry black lesbians who are trying to injure her because they're so damn jealous that it's not an angry black lesbian who is the center of attention. Look, Asia Wilson is a great player. If Asia Wilson was walking down the street, you probably wouldn't be able to identify her. Sabrina Ionescu, same thing. Paige Beckers is having a fantastic rookie season. She's going to be spectacular in the WNBA too. Nobody, and I mean nobody, cares about Angel Reese except for the race baiters who are just so damn upset that a white heterosexual woman is able to do something better than the group of angry black lesbians who can't handle themselves not getting all of the attention. Dan O'Donnell Show, coming right back.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Southbound 4145 on-ramp from Appleton got an accident, crash on the exit to 76 from 894 eastbound, and northbound on the Rock Freeway at the Hale interchange, a crash off to the right shoulder. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Grand Appliance. Shop Grand Appliance for extended July 4th specials on top brands like LG. Plus, get hundreds in additional savings you won't find anywhere else. Learn more at grandappliance.com or your local Grand showroom. That's Grand Appliance. Appliance experts since 1930.
For many of us, the most important part of our routine between 6 and 9 weekday mornings is to listen to every minute of the Jay Weber Show on WISN. Sadly, sometimes less important elements of our lives get in the way, such as work, children, and bathing. Don't despair. The Jay Weber Show podcast is available 24/7 to fill any gaps in your hunger for entertainment. Just go to newstalk1130.com, click the podcast tab, and enjoy Jay Weber on demand.
I'm Dr. Jennifer Grieve at Reset Restore MD IV Ketamine Therapy Centers. IV ketamine is superior to ketamine lozenges. If you suffer with depression, anxiety, or PTSD, listen to real R&R MD patient feedback.
My treatments helped greatly reduce and eliminate my chronic back pain.
I've tried many therapies for depression, and this has been the most impactful. The environment is relaxing, and the staff are incredibly kind.
Amazing, life-changing, wonderful. Dr. Jennifer changed my life for the better with ketamine infusions.
R&R MD helped me deal with anxiety and be more calm with hectic things going on. Years of talk therapy can't do what this did in a few sessions.
Intravenous ketamine infusions take about an hour at our Brookfield or Mequon R&R MD locations. Relief can continue for weeks, months, even a lifetime. R&R for Relief, Reset Restore MD, rnrmd.com. That's rnrmd.com.
Dan here. It's This Week with Annex Wealth Management alongside the CEO of Annex, Dave Spano. And this week, we're still dealing with uncertainty in the markets. The uncertainty of tax policy has been alleviated by the passage of the One Big Beautiful Bill and the signing of it on July 4th. But looking ahead, there's still, Dave, a whole lot of uncertainty when it comes to President Trump's tariffs.
Yeah, there really has. Look where we've been in the last 90 days. Shifting the trade responsibility from Navarro to Percent, and then they cut tariffs from $670 billion down to $270. Reciprocal tariffs were delayed, and on and on. And the market just continues to go down the train tracks, taking it in stride. And so we'll see what happens come August 1st. But the other thing that you did point out, which is absolutely true, is that the big, beautiful bill is passed, and now we're starting to see that people will have more money in their pockets, from a higher standard deduction to enhanced deductions for seniors, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. All of this means that there's some planning opportunities. And we also have a webinar planned for our business owners coming up on Thursday, the 17th. We're going to talk about ideas for tax, estate, and retirement planning. So listen in, and we'll have an opportunity to have that. That's Thursday the 17th, the One Big Beautiful Bill, what business owners need to know. Register now at events.annexwealth.com.
Whether or not you're on the webinar, and you definitely should be, you need to be planning for your businesses, your families, your loved ones' financial future. That is, after all, why we do all of this, to provide for those we care about. You need to head to annexwealth.com to get a review of your portfolio, to know what you own and why you own it. For Dave Spano, the CEO of Annex, I'm Dan O'Donnell. This has been This Week with Annex Wealth Management.
Hi, John McGivern here. Did you know Network Health has been a leader in providing health plans in Wisconsin for over 41 years? A lot has changed in the last 4 decades, and Network Health remains as dependable and reliable as ever, providing health plans in 25 Wisconsin counties to over 126,000 members and growing. Join them. Call 833-7-NETWORK today. HMO and POS plans underwritten by Network Health Plan. Compensation has been provided for using this endorsement of Network Health.
Your home is your sanctuary, and the first step to peace of mind is controlling your power. Get a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from the #1 Generac dealer, Generator Supercenter. Go to GeneratorSupercenterofLakeCountry.com.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock, because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Injured? Call Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
I can't think about my Uncle Chris without thinking about the craziest night of my life. The Uncle Chris podcast tells the story of my Uncle Chris, a real character, a garbage truck driver from South Carolina who is now buried alongside the founding families of Panama. Wild stories about adventure, romance, crime, history, and war intertwine as I share the tall tales and hard truths that have helped me understand Uncle Chris. Listen to Uncle Chris on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Follow Uncle Chris and start listening on the free iHeart Radio app today.
Talk Radio.
Redefined.
You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
We remain on Tony Evers' watch, as pretty much every Madison insider now believes that his announcement that he is not seeking a third term in office is imminent. I am not reporting this as fact. I'm just telling you what pretty much everyone says. I am aware of nobody leaking the confirmed news that he is going to. I have just heard that this is the scuttlebutt in Madison, that pretty much every Democrat in the state is getting their affairs in order. they're not dying. They're getting their affairs in order to explore a possible run. This would include the Attorney General Josh Cole. This would include the Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez. The candidate that I keep hearing the most buzz about is Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley, that this is something that he has wanted for a long time. As I understand it, Milwaukee's Mayor Cavalier Johnson is probably not going to throw his hat in the ring, that he's content to stay Milwaukee's mayor, or that he might be considering a run for the Senate or something like that. I believe he does obviously have ambitions higher than the Milwaukee mayorship, but that he is thinking about this race and probably taking a pass. Now, again, I'm not hearing this from the candidates directly. I'm just hearing what people with extensive knowledge of the inner workings of Democrats and their campaigning are telling me. And what they say is that nobody likes Josh Cole. I'm sorry, Josh. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. Your Democrat friends are not actually your Democrat friends. He does not have a ton of support. He would not be considered a frontrunner. In any other year, possibly in any other state, with any other AG, he would be considered easily, far and away, because of the nondescript nature of Rodriguez's term as lieutenant governor. She just is nowhere to be found. I mean, this after 8 years of Becky Clayfish and even man deadbeat Barnes. I mean, he was in the news far more for abusing the state patrol, using him as his personal Uber service and not paying taxes or fees on pretty much anything he owns, never paying parking tickets, just never paying. That's why we came up with the name Man Deadbeat instead of Mandela Barnes, which I honestly, when I mean to say Mandela Barnes, I've been saying Man Deadbeat for so long, it still comes out Man Deadbeat Barnes. It was kind of embarrassing. I was on Newsmax, this was years ago, when he was running for Senate. And they had me on to talk about the Ron Johnson reelection race. And I said, man, deadbeat Barnes, and without even meaning to. And I said, well, I'm sorry, I slipped up. That's kind of a nickname I have for him on the radio show because he doesn't pay. The host was cracking up. So it turned out, I was like, probably not the forum to use my own little pet nickname for him. Man Deadbeat, I don't believe, would be running for governor. There is still a lot of anger at him for screwing up the Senate race. Ron Johnson was the candidate. He was the senator they wanted to pick off more than anyone else in the Republican caucus 3 years ago. And Barnes, in a big Democrat year, couldn't do it. In a year in which Tony Evers won re-election. I mean, that was seen as a colossal failure. Sarah Godlewski, people have been asking me about. She was one of the ones, along with Alex Lasry, and Lasry is not going to run for anything. Daddy sold his stake in the Bucks, so he's right back in New York. I'm not actually sure what Alex is doing now. He was running for the U.S. Senate in 2022 when Daddy still owned the Bucks, and he and Godlewski dropped out a week before the Democrat primary for reasons known only to the Democrat Party and God, the God that they don't believe in, because Barnes was very likely to win. He was way ahead in all the polls. He was likely to win anyway. I'm not sure why they dropped out, but Godlewski was rewarded with the Secretary of State role. Doug LaFollette ran again and won, and then immediately resigned, and Evers named Godlewski to replace him. I mean, it's a do-nothing role, and LaFollette was doing nothing for 74 years that he was in the position. But this is seen as a stepping stone for her to run for higher office. They are not going to run her for governor. She wants the United States Senate. She wants to be a senator, and she is very likely to get the Democrat nomination the next time Ron Johnson comes up, if for whatever reason Tammy Baldwin decides that this term is going to be her last. More likely, though, Johnson is not going to run for another term. He would be up in 2028. And she would be running for his seat. The other names that are out there that always, I think, are perpetually out there, State Senator Kelda Helen Roys ran against Evers in 2018, and she just made a big deal on Wisconsin Eye. We played the soundbite yesterday. She was asked directly, do you think Evers should run for a third term? And she said, well, I think traditionally 2 terms is enough. The dark horse, though, is Ben Wickler. He resigned very suddenly from his chairmanship of the state Democrat Party. Remember, he was running to be the national Democrat chair. I think they made a terrible mistake. I'm not complaining. They elected Ken Martin of the Minnesota Democratic Party to be the new national chair. Ben Wickler came in second, even though he had a ton of high-profile endorsements, including Nancy Pelosi. Wickler was a fundraising machine for that party. If he jumps in the race, would he be able to draw on all of his national donor connections to support his candidacy? That would be his big strength. No one knows, though, whether he would be interested in running, although he has in the past said being governor of Wisconsin would be his, quote, dream job. I'm going to step aside for a break. When we come back, we name the unsung hero of the day. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Follow Dan at facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show.
More of the show next.
From the Lynch GM Superstore in Burlington, Total Traffic Center.
Southbound 43 slowing in pockets. Good Hope down to Hampton. A break before you're tight again from north to the Marquette and on to 4394 down to the KK River. Northbound delays from Howard up to Beecher. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Wendy's new Takis Fuego meal. Wendy's new Takis Fuego meal is here with a Takis Fuego chicken sandwich and small Fuego fries inspired by Takis Fuego chips with a 1-ounce Takis Fuego bag and a drink. Grab yours today. Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. While supplies last. Takis and Fuego are used under license.
When it comes to selling a home, it can be hard to know who you can trust. I'm Tom Detwich with Grandview Homes. We've spent 15 years helping families move forward with integrity at the heart of everything we do. After all, this isn't just a house we're talking about. It's where memories were made and irreplaceable moments occurred. Our reputation is built on doing what we promise. No surprises, just an honest offer to buy your home. Get your no-obligation offer at grandviewhomes.com today. grandviewhomes.com.
At Catamaran Heating and Air Conditioning, we're gearing up for a summer the Farmer's Almanac says could bring record-breaking heat. If your AC barely made it through last summer, don't wait for the next heat wave. With Catamaran's 5-star financing, a new Carrier AC starts at just $55 a month. And for a limited time, enjoy no payments and no interest for 3 months. Catamaran Heating makes it easy to stay cool. Call Catamaran Heating today or book online at catamaranheating.com.
Bob here for Redefine Realty, powered by EasyHomeBidder.com.
Brian here. I was in the market to buy my first home. I rushed to see houses the day they went live on MLS. Made offers on 5 houses before finally getting the 6th accepted. I would have increased my bid on all 5 of the other houses I didn't get, but never got the chance.
Brian's story is tragic for Brian, but also for sellers. Brian would have paid more for each of the 5 houses he didn't get. That's 5 sellers guided by traditional MLS agents who sold their home for less than they could have. Redefined Realty, powered by EasyHomeBidder.com's auction platform and MLS, would have earned all 5 Wisconsin area home sellers more money. A lot more money. Selling a fixer-upper, a duplex, a condo, a $400,000 home, or a multi-million-dollar home. When buyers bid, sellers win. In fact, when buyers bid, buyers win too. Heck, everybody wins at Redefined Realty and EasyHomeBidder.com. Buyers win, sellers win. Obvious, but revolutionary. When buyers win, sellers win. It's real estate for winners. RedefinedRealty.com.
Hey, Monica. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Rick.
Hey, Joe. To what do we owe the honor?
Don't you have CEO type things you need to be doing?
Or Joe might be here because he's been doing some CEO type things that he thinks we should know about.
Bingo. You guessed it, Monica.
What do you need us to do, Joe?
Well, I'm here because I want to present an idea to you.
Cool. What is it?
I've been talking with finance companies and was able to make a deal for $18 18-month financing at 0% interest with a $750 or more purchase.
And your idea was to offer 18-month 0% financing to all of our customers?
It's subject to credit approval, but yeah, that's what I was thinking.
How long will we be able to do it?
From July 1st to July 31st.
0% will let people buy diamonds that were on their bucket list.
I know what I'm buying.
I'm going on a shopping spree. I'm going to have more jewelry than the Queen of England.
So you like the idea?
We don't like it. We love it.
For the location of the Kesslers nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Homeowners across Wisconsin trust WeatherPro Exteriors for the best in roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Voted Milwaukee's 2024 top choice. We are proud to deliver the highest quality and service. Right now, get $1,000 off a full roof replacement, plus a $200 quick trip gift card. Your home is your biggest investment. Make sure it's protected with top quality roofing, siding, windows, and doors built to last. Visit WeatherProExteriors.com today.
Your home cleaning friend, it's Edelman again. Edelman.
Here's why money Warshevsky.
This is Fox on Justice, an early morning raid in Newark, New Jersey, and a loud wake-up call from the U.S. Marshals.
Police department with a warrant, open the door.
The team out serving a warrant for a suspected Tren de Aragua gang member, wanted for a string of armed robberies on New York City subways. Also outside that door, interim U.S. Attorney for New Jersey, Alina Habba.
We're doing multiple cases at once to make sure that we clean up as quickly as possible.
Habba and the team waiting for that main target to surrender, but he's not home. Instead, a group of migrants who the feds say are all in the country illegally finally come out.
Gang member, Tren de Aragua, but they think they have rights here that they just don't have. You are a criminal. You need to get out.
This month-long statewide operation targeting U.S. citizens with arrest warrants, like a New Jersey woman who police say recently shot at least 2 people, and another man wanted for aggravated assault who nearly got away from the feds on a fire escape. I'm Alexis McAdams, Fox News.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Got a text here from Kyle. Dan, driving in from Ozaki, what's with all the protesters at all the overpasses? Well, Kyle, that is part of the Good Trouble protests that are going on all across the country today. This is in conjunction with the 5th anniversary of the death of John Lewis. He was a civil rights figure, also a congressman. He died 5 years ago today, and there are protests all over the country. Now, one thing that is absolutely fascinating about this, as we documented a couple of days ago here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, on News Nation, the CEO of a company called Crowds for Hire said that the organizers, or someone associated with the organizers of the Good Trouble protests, actually approached him and said, guess what? We will give you $20 million if you can bring some crowds to this event. In fact, here it is. This is Brian Enton of News Nation and the CEO of Crowds, not Crowds for Hire, Crowds on Demand. Crowds on Demand is the company.
Have the organizers of the July 17th demonstrations approached you?
Interests aligned with the organizers of the July 17th movement have approached us. And in fact, we rejected an offer that probably is worth around $20 million.
$20 million?
Correct. I mean, this is a nationwide thing, right? It's not to say I would have made $20 million personally, but the value of the contract would have been worth around that amount nationwide to organize huge demonstrations around the country. But personally, I just don't think it's effective. So it's not I'm not trying to call myself virtuous for rejecting it. What I'm saying is I'm rejecting it not because I don't want to take the business, but because, frankly, this is going to be ineffective. It's going to make us all look bad.
That's Adam Swart. He is the CEO of Crowds on Demand, making a very specific allegation. Now, of course, Enton, the reporter for News Nation, followed up, as he should, by asking him, hey, who was it that offered $20 million? That's a ton of money. Swartz says he never identifies who it is that hires him or that he contracts with, or even that offers to pay him for his crowd services, because that would obviously reflect very poorly on him. So he's got a strict confidentiality ethos and would not reveal who it was. He would say only it wasn't the organizers themselves, it was someone who was very close to them. Now, this, of course, raises the rather obvious question: were the ICE protests in Los Angeles and all across the country over the past month or so, were those also funded by Crowds on Demand? Worth asking. Remember when libs said it was a conspiracy theory that these were AstroTurf protesters, that these were bought and paid for agitators? Ads for people to come and protest appear on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace and LinkedIn all the time. We've documented this ahead of big left-wing protests. Time now to name the unsung hero of the day, brought to you by Blue Line Cleaning Services, residential and commercial cleaning done by professionals. Today's unsung hero of the day is actually going to be Congressman Derek Van Orden. It takes a lot to come out in a very public setting and say, yeah, I think I'm the victim of cyberbullying and cyberstalking, especially when it's at the hands of someone who is as inherently comical a figure as Mark Pocan, a fellow congressman. But Congressman Van Orden, in an interview earlier on the show today, was very candid also about how scared he was for his family, especially his grandchildren, following multiple death threats that he's received over the past couple of years, and also about his own battles with PTSD. It takes a real man to admit all of those things and to do it as publicly as he did. Derek Van Orden, your unsung hero of the day.
Programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the Annex Wealth Management Studios. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference. Listen to Clay and Buck weekdays 11 to 2 on News Talk 1130 WISN Milwaukee. And make WISN the #1 preset on your car radio and on the new iHeart app. Free never sounded so good.
One step closer to approval. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The House set to vote on $9 billion in spending cuts targeting foreign aid and public broadcasting. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the funding cuts are justified.
These are not honest news organizations. These are partisan left-wing outlets that are funded by the taxpayers. And this administration does not believe it's a good use of the taxpayers' time and money.
Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer says the cuts are unpopular with the American people.
Just like with the big ugly bill, the more Americans learn about what Republicans just did in this rescission package, the more they won't like it, and the more Republicans will squirm.
The House is currently in a holding pattern on the vote as Democrats are putting pressure on Republicans to take votes on releasing the Epstein files. This as President Trump does not support a special counsel to look into the handling of the Jeffrey Epstein prosecution.
Well, President Trump supports transparency about accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says.
But he doesn't like to see Democrats in the mainstream media covering this like it's the biggest story that the American people care about.
It's not just Democrats demanding answers. After the Justice Department concluded there is no evidence of a client list, some Republicans and conservative influencers have called for a special counsel.
The president would not recommend a special prosecutor in the Epstein case. That's how he feels.
But Leavitt says President Trump has directed Attorney General Pam Bondi to release any additional credible information discovered about the case.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. A federal judge has ruled the firing of Federal Trade Commission member Rebecca Slaughter by President Trump was illegal. Wall Street, another positive day for the major indexes after some better than expected updates on the economy. The Dow gained 229, the NASDAQ plus 153. America is listening to Fox News.
bit cloudy to start our day today, but some sunshine breaks through by this afternoon. Much cooler, high of only 70 with 60s lakeside as the wind turns to the northeast. Overnight clear, we'll drop into the upper 50s and then back near 80 tomorrow. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by First Choice Heating and Cooling.
This heat is unbearable.
Keep your family comfortable with First Choice Heating. For a limited time, get $89 off your AC and heating tune-up. Milwaukee's trusted HVAC company, firstchoiceheating.com.
The Brewers return from the break with a jam-packed week of action. First up, a summer battle with the Marlins, July 25th through the 27th. Come for the action, stay for Pokemon Go Day on Friday the 25th, and a Bryce Terang bobblehead on Saturday the 26th, presented by Wintrust, Wisconsin's bank. Then it's time to battle back when the Crew takes on the Cubs for 3 games starting on July 28th. Get tickets for a week of Brewers action you don't want to miss at brewers.com.
I'm Kelly Lammert at Clean Living Environments. Exhausted today because last night was sweaty and sleepless? Kids upstairs can't sleep unless your bedroom is freezing and you're overwhelmed by stifling humid heat just a few steps up the stairs? Clean Living Environment Clean ducts allow more cool air to make it through your vents to the farthest room from the furnace and every room in between. Clean Living Environment's AeroSeal duct sealing allows your furnace and ducts to deliver cool, refreshing air as your HVAC system was designed. The engineer didn't account for loosely fitted pipes snaking from the furnace through walls to vents or loosely boxed off stud spaces and right angle returns forcing air out of ducts. Literally tonnage of cool air escaping into the basement, walls, and attic before reaching intended rooms. Dank basement air sucked into gaps and distributed throughout the house results in dust, musty smells, less cooled air to parts of the house, and larger energy bills. Upgrading summer is cool. Get more out of your ducts. CleanLivingEnvironments.com. That's cleanlivingenvironments.com.
All right, team, listen up. Merle the Squirrel's here to tell you why Capital's duct cleaning is a game changer.
What did he say?
He said, if you haven't cleaned your ducts in 5 years, you're breathing in all kinds of junk. And unlike those companies who use glorified shop vacs, we use high-powered trucks to clean your ducts the right way.
Yeah, makes sense. Cleaner ducts, cleaner air, healthier home.
Exactly.
Schedule your duct cleaning today and save $200. That's right, save $200.
Call CapitalCares.com. Your clear choice for more. Lisbon Store, Street and Door.
News Talk 1130, WISN Milwaukee.
Go-Wall Investment Group, now Creative Planning, is a registered investment advisor. Now for your business report from Creative Planning. For informational purposes only, past performance is not indicative of future results.
Good afternoon. This is Anthony Priester with your closing business report. The major averages increased today, fueled by stronger than expected retail sales. New data from the U.S. Census Bureau indicated that retail sales jumped 0.6% in May, compared to 0.2% increase forecasted. Meanwhile, shares of PepsiCo increased over 7% following upbeat second quarter results. PepsiCo posted revenue of $22.73 billion compared to $22.27 billion forecasted. At the close, the Dow was up 230 points. The S&P 500 was up 33 points. The Nasdaq was up 153 points. From the Go-Wall Investment Group, now Creative Planning, I'm Anthony Priester.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we did get Congressman Mark Pocan to finally respond to our exclusive reporting about his very likely cyberstalking of Congressman Derek Van Orden, as only he can, on X at 4:35 p.m. from the official @MarkPocan Twitter account. He responded to my tweet of about an hour ago. I tweeted, exclusive. It certainly appears that Wisconsin Congressman Mark Pocan has been cyberstalking fellow Wisconsin Congressman Derek Van Orden for several years, tagging him in 789 tweets since May of 2021. This month, Pocan has tweeted at Van Orden nearly 3 times per day. Here is Pocan's statement. I will read it in its entirety. Exclusive. Dan O'Donnell thinks he's a journalist. Disgusted smiley emoji, crying laughing emoji, sticking out the tongue winking emoji, and slightly diagonally slanted crying laughing emoji. Okay. I mean, seems like the manly, brave thing to do would be to answer my repeated requests to come on this show and to answer my questions about whether what he's been doing does constitute cyberbullying. But I mean, you can't use emojis in a live conversation. So maybe that's why he doesn't want to. But these are serious allegations that both Van Orden and I are leveling here. Cyberstalking is a crime, according to the Wisconsin statutes, according to federal statute. And if this isn't cyberstalking, sending that sheer volume of tweets at somebody, and again, okay, in public life, you will have good reason to tweet at somebody. For example, at Kamala Harris and at real Donald Trump. You could imagine ahead of the 2024 presidential election would be tagging each other in a ton of tweets. These two aren't running against each other. These two aren't, they don't have any real reason to be interacting. Here are a couple of examples. These are just the most recent examples of him responding to, oh boy, we have got 1, 2, 3, 4 tweets since I reported that Pocan had tweeted at Derek Van Orden 50 times in the span of 17 days. So we're now up to 54 times, which is now more than 3 per day in the month of July. All right. 2 days ago. Oh, here we go. Here's some stalking in the real world. Pocan is taking a big, ugly law town hall to at Derek Van Orden's district on July 31st to the town he lives in currently. If you live in the 3rd Wisconsin district, be heard. Maybe Derek will show up and won't chicken out. Couldn't be easier than down the road, right? Register here. That's a tweet he sent 2 days ago. So we've gone from Cyberstalking, and I'll be honest with you, I have spent hours counting up this crackpot's tweets. I didn't actually look too closely at any of them because I was just going for, okay, this is how many, to try to build the case. Look, this is clearly a case of cyber harassment, if not cyberstalking. And it's an invitation to all of his followers. He has 36, almost 37,000. So he's inviting whoever it is among his most unhinged to start piling on the at Derek Van Orden account. This is a form of directed harassment. It wouldn't be, okay, like, for example, I tagged at Mark Pocan because I really, really want him to come on the radio and talk about, look, I'm on WIBA radio in his district. A lot of his constituents can hear me right now. Would you not like it? Even if you hate my guts, if you are a dyed-in-the-wool Madison lib and you despise Dan O'Donnell and everything he stands for, don't you think you'd like to hear the reason your congressman won't stop tweeting at another congressman who he has no earthly business with? Don't you think that's a little weird? Don't you think that when he should be debating the rescission cuts that were just sent from the Senate, he's tweeting up a storm about Derek Van Orden. Don't you think it's a little weird that instead of talking to you in his district, he is going across the state to far western Wisconsin to down the street from Derek Van Orden's house at the end of this month? Would you think it's weird? I live in the Milwaukee area. So for those who listen in Madison, I think everybody knows, by now our flagship station. I broadcast out of News Talk 1130 WISN. So I'm in the Madison area. If I just decided one day, and I've got the equipment to basically do a radio show anywhere. I could do a radio show. I could do a TV broadcast. I can do anything, right? We've got a very cool portable piece of equipment that will allow me to do that. All I need is an internet hookup, and I'm golden. If I did so at the nearest hotel or bar or whatever gas station to Mark Pocan's house, would you think that's a little weird? Would you think that's a little stalkerish? Like, Pocan clearly is not going to come on this radio show. He's not going to talk to me man to man. Some might say, as he's been tweeting that that Van Orden is, and he uses emojis. He'll use the chicken emoji and the poop emoji to say that Van Orden is chicken bleep, obviously, right? It seems to me that Congressman Pocan is a little chicken bleep to talk to me. Why is that? I'm just a radio host. I mean, he's a congressman. He's obviously much smarter and much more well-versed on the issues and everything. Obviously, as he said, Dan O'Donnell thinks he's a journalist. I'm not a real journalist. I obviously won't have very specific, very insightful, and very difficult questions for him. I'm an entertainer, right? I'm not actually a journalist. I don't do the heavy lifting of journalism. So why won't he come on the show? It should be a cupcake interview. Thank you, producer Jeff. You've tried calling his office. We got the runaround when we invited him on, when we offered to moderate the debate between he and Van Orden. Now, he's tried to say that Van Orden chickened out, but we offered both of them, and Van Orden got back to me instantly and said, yes, Dan, obviously I'll do it, but here's what you need to know about Mark Pocan. It's starting to get a little weird, and I don't want to give this guy the sort of desperate attention that he needs. I was joking about Fatal Attraction and Glenn Close and I'm not going to be ignored, Dan, but this is really what this is sounding like. And my God, we just unintentionally broke even more news. Does this not sort of prove beyond a doubt what this is? A targeted campaign of harassment. I literally was just, people were asking me, oh, Dan, are you going to read some of the tweets? Are you going to read some of the tweets? The first one I found, I was just going to go through, okay, I think I know where a couple of the doozies are, where he's just completely unhinged tweeting at Van Orden. He's going to as near as he can find to Derek Van Orden's house. We happened to find this on the same day Van Orden told us a bunch of crazy, likely Mark Pocan fans are showing up at his house as part of this good trouble bought and paid for protest. Boy, at what point is someone in the news media going to pick this up besides me? I guarantee no one else in Madison. You think this is going to be on the front page of the Capital Times or the State Journal tomorrow? You think Channel 3000 or WKOW or Madison Public Radio, you think they're going to pick this up? You think Wisconsin Public Radio in Milwaukee? Is this not, regardless of where the congressmen are from, is this not a fascinating story? I have never, in all my years covering politics, and folks, I just passed my 24th anniversary being in the broadcast business, if you can believe that. I was 19 years old when I was hired. And next year, it's going to be a quarter century doing this. Well over half my life, I have been doing this. I actually won the National Edward R. Murrow Award for investigative reporting about a long time ago. Let's just put it that way. It was like 25, 26, something like that. So it was a long time ago. The Edward R. Murrow Awards, it's sort of like the Oscars for broadcast journalism. And I've never seen anything like this. Been covering politics, been doing investigative reporting. I have never seen a case in which, okay, yes, it certainly looks like one congressman is stalking the other. Now, there's a certain level in politics when you're running against each other of what would outside of the realm of politics be considered stalking, right? You send trackers to go to every one of your opponent's speeches and events and town hall meetings to record what they say, to try to use it in ads against them. There's none of that. They're not both, say, running for the United States Senate. Then I could understand. There's a reason to do so. Why is Pocan doing this other than to, I don't even know. There's 5 other members of the Republican caucus in the House. He never goes after Brian Stile. He never goes after Tom Tiffany. He never goes after Scott Fitzgerald. What is it about Derek Van Orden? Producer Jeff, well, now that's a good joke. Producer Jeff says Pocan just wants to take Derek Van Orden on a date to Coldplay so they can cuddle until the cameras find them in the crowd. Now, that is producer Jeff. I'm not sure if he knows Pocan is gay. I believe he is married. If not, he's in a very serious committed relationship. That is a Coldplay joke. If you haven't seen the video, please do. It's the CEO of some AI company from New York. He was canoodling at the Coldplay concert in Boston last night with the head of his HR department, which just makes this so much funnier. The CEO and the HR director are very obviously having an affair. They're caught on camera, and they both try desperately to duck out of the way. Oh, my goodness, was that spectacular. All right, without further ado, the Sizzlin' Summer Cash Contest, word this hour, pay, P-A-Y, pay. You have got until 55 past the hour to go to our website and enter the keyword pay. If your entry is picked at random, we will pay you $1,000 each and every day. We play every hour, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. You've got until 55 past. Go to our website, enter the keyword pay. I am so excited, ladies and gentlemen. I've been off for the last couple of Thursdays. In fact, by looking at the Forgotten History podcast, I haven't uploaded a new episode in a while. You know, we were gone last week. I took a little quick trip. Before that, it was a company holiday before the 4th of July. Before that, I was on my Norway listener trip. So it's been a long time since I've gotten to bring to you a brand new episode of Forgotten History. Well, coming up next, it is a fun one. Was George Washington actually the first president of the United States? As we know the title, yes. Was he the first person to be known, at least colloquially, as the president of the United States? No, he was not. So who was? We'll find out in Forgotten History, coming up next, right here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Active Mortgage Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 255368.
At Wisconsin's own AccuNet Mortgage, our closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 less than the banks or the mortgage guys with the Rocket for exactly the same rate. Find out how much you can save at accunet.com.
Jay Weber here, someone who knows firsthand how debilitating spine and back problems can be, and who knows where to turn to get the highest level of spine care. The team of board-certified physicians and surgeons at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. You can find them at orthowisconsin.com. orthowisconsin.com. Ortho Wisconsin has treatment plans that can get you back to an active lifestyle and through the least invasive method possible. They take a multifaceted approach that allows them to use a variety of treatment options and find the best for you. Dr. Michael Nolte is their newest spine surgeon, and he and his colleagues are nationally recognized clinicians dedicated to enhancing quality of care for patients looking to restore and recover spinal function. Pain managing procedures are done at Ortho Wisconsin's Ambulatory Surgery Center in Pewaukee and at their Brookfield Clinic, and the more conservative treatments, like physical therapy, are offered at their New Berlin location as well. Find more info at orthowisconsin.com. In fact, if you have any shoulder, spine, hip, knee, or musculoskeletal pain, check out orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
In Waukesha County, got an accident 94 eastbound at Highway 164. It's in the left lane and causing a delay back to Highway 16. Westbound delay starting just before the zoo and continuing all the way back in pockets to 164. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas.
T-Mobile Arena.
September 19th and 20th, streaming live only on Hulu. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage. Get tickets now at AXS.com.
Lenovo and the iHeartRadio Music Festival. Tech that hits different. Can your gear keep up with the beat? Lenovo PCs are built for creators, dreamers, and fans who don't hit pause. Visit Lenovo.com for the latest in AI PCs and game-changing tech.
I'm attorney Tom Grieve, here to tell you about Grieve Civil Law. Life is unpredictable, and the consequences of not planning for the future can be devastating. Have you ever thought about what would happen if you ended up in the hospital without the ability to make your own medical decisions? Or what will happen to your family if you die without a will? Without a power of attorney, your family could face agonizing decisions without knowing what you wanted. You could undergo medical interventions you don't want, or worse, lie in limbo while medical staff tries to determine who should have the final say in what happens to you. When you're gone, your loved ones could end up in probate with legal battles, high court costs and fees, and family disputes over your assets. In probate, everyone can see your assets, from the government to your nosy neighbors. Plan today so you can have peace of mind tomorrow. Don't leave your family in chaos and confusion. Contact Grieve Civil Law today, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. Visit grievecivillaw.com.
Bob from Redefined Realty here. I'd written my own ads for 20 years.
Creative genius. Here. Same. Well, Inet's ads and 100 other businesses' ads.
Writing your own ads, you kind of get stuck repeating the same message. Different words, but the same perspective.
Before introducing Easy Home Bidder, Bob came to Inet to brand his brainchild, MLS Listing Backed by Auction. It's brilliant. MLS guarantees the home is found. Auction guarantees the highest sale price. Period.
Inet branded it, wrote our story, knocked our marketing out of the park. When you think of selling your home, you know MLS and auction together is the right choice.
Redefined also benefits from unparalleled radio buying power, industry influence, and extracurricular enhancement of being part of the Inet community. More than 1,000 businesses working together for each other's successes.
Websites, branding, design, video, and radio. Inet is improving the economy one business at a time.
InetDishWeb.com.
CreativeGeniusMarketing.com.
Buyers, sellers, real estate for winners. RedefinedRealty.com.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell from Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you across the greater Milwaukee area. Start your repair right now at ManderCollision.com. Mander truly is the best decision after a collision.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MetaShare. Maybe you've heard joining MediShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 866-89-BIBLE. That's 866-89-BIBLE. 866-89-BIBLE.
Make News Talk 1130 WISN your number one preset on our free iHeartRadio app, powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
I'm American. You know that there's a Mary girl. You know that there's
Conservative thought.
Not just talk.
This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Each week here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, we tell the stories of the red, the white, and the blue that you might not have learned in school, but they are the stories that make us who we are today. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time once again for a brand new episode of Forgotten History. Who was America's first president? Well, that's easy. George Washington, right? Wrong. Sort of. This is the forgotten history of the real first president. Revolutionary fervor was sweeping the colonies, and in Delaware, a 40-year-old lawyer was passionately making the case for independence. But the people of his colony were as divided on the issue as the representatives they sent to the Continental Congress. The lawyer, his good friend Caesar Rodney, and his neighbor George Reed all headed to Philadelphia with very different ideas about the best course of action. For 2 years and 2 sessions, they debated until finally, in June 1776, the resolution came before them. Would Delaware vote for revolution? Despite the lawyer's best arguments, Reed was firmly opposed, but Rodney was held up back home and unable to make the trip to vote. Realizing how dire the situation was, the lawyer made his best case of all, persuading his friend to ride all through the night to make the final vote on July 2nd and break the tie. The resolution passed, and on July 4th, the final wording of the Declaration of Independence was approved. But before he could sign it, the lawyer rode off to battle as a colonel in a militia unit created by Ben Franklin himself to join General Washington in the defense of New York City. Back home, the political fighting was every bit as intense. Delaware's loyalists were furious with the lawyer's vote for independence and removed both him and Caesar Rodney as their congressional representatives. But then the British moved to take Philadelphia, and even the most loyal voters were horrified and voted to return both men to the Continental Congress the following year. Trading his musket for a quill and further armed with his powerful oratory, the lawyer was a driving force behind the adoption of the Articles of Confederation in 1781. Those articles called for a new position to be created, President of the Confederation Congress, and the delegates elected Samuel Huntington. He was in poor health, though, and resigned from the position, so the lawyer Thomas McKeon was elected to replace him. The role, sometimes called the President of the United States in Congress assembled, was a largely ceremonial one, but McKeon did sign official documents, and during his brief 4-month term in office, the British surrendered at the Battle of Yorktown, ending the revolution and at long last fulfilling his dream of a free and independent America. 8 years later, the young nation ratified its constitution and created a new position, President of the United States, and, of course, selected George Washington as the first man to ever fill it. But as the President of the Continental Congress, when America won its independence, Thomas McKeon would certainly have a claim to be the country's very first president. That claim is certainly stronger than John Hanson's. Years later, Hanson's descendants popularized the myth that he, not Washington, was actually America's first president because he replaced McKeon as president of the Confederation Congress in November of 1781. He might have been the first man to serve a full term as president, but he certainly wasn't the first to serve. And besides, president of the Confederation Congress, even if it was sometimes called president of the United States, wasn't actually the president of the United States. The position wasn't even created until 1789. The Hanson myth persists to this day, but the first man to hold any sort of title of president in a free American was indeed Thomas McKeon. He held many titles in the young nation, including the very first Chief Justice of Pennsylvania, a state where he was also elected governor 3 times. He never stopped fighting for America's freedom either, even as an old man. When the British invaded and launched the War of 1812, an 80-year-old McKeon organized a militia group in Philadelphia. 5 years later, he died peacefully, content that after a lifetime of battles in the field and in the Congress, the nation he loved was free.
From the Lynch Chevrolet of Kenosha Total Traffic Center.
In Waukesha County, got an accident 94 eastbound at Highway 164. It's in the left lane and causing a delay back to Highway 16. Westbound delay starting just before the zoo and continuing all the way back in pockets to 164. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by First Choice Heating and Cooling.
This heat is unbearable.
Keep your family comfortable with First Choice Heating. For a limited time, get $89 off your AC and heating tune-up. Milwaukee's trusted HVAC company, firstchoiceheating.com.
Hi, I'm Tom Detlich with Grandview Homes. Life can move fast or slow or somewhere in between. So when you want to sell your home, we're here to work on your schedule. Whether you need to close in 10 days or need more time to get things in order, we'll make it happen. Our process is designed around your needs. We'll buy your home completely as is, no matter the condition. At Grandview Homes, we know your time is precious, and we won't waste it by giving you the runaround. Just a fair, guaranteed offer on your schedule. That's why our offers don't expire, as long as your home and the market stay the same. Whether you have a family home, condo, or rental property in Greater Milwaukee, we're here to help you sell confidently and on your timeline. Grandview Homes, the fastest and easiest way to sell your home. Get your no-obligation offer at grandviewhomes.com today. grandviewhomes.com.
Hi, I'm Willa Voss. I'm 8 years old. Mom and Dad own Cut and Go Tree Service. Yes, they did name me after a tree. Our family loves this country and the freedom it provides. Every morning, I look forward to starting the school day with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please say it along with me, even if you just say it in your mind. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. American patriots will enjoy a 5% discount for flying the American flag and mentioning this commercial when the Cut and Go remote control, automobile mounted, articulated crane, grapple saw operators are putting your dead trees on the ground or removing large branches that grew over something important. An all-American Tons of Trees movement, cutandgotrees.com. That's CUTNGOTREES.com.
Neglecting concrete or asphalt problems is like neglecting a cavity. It isn't going to fix itself, and the longer you leave it, the worse it is going to get. And the more it's going to cost to fix.
Mud Tech's here to save the day. 262-337-0934.
Eliminate unsightly, even dangerous concrete and asphalt problems while increasing your business's curb appeal. Safer, user-friendly concrete and asphalt costs less than you think. Mud Tech!
262-337-0934.
Better curb appeal brings more tenants, more customers, and happier neighbors.
MudTech. 262-337-0934.
Seal Coat makes old gray asphalt new again. Cracks and plow bending potholes disappear. Trip hazards are quickly and inexpensively raised or replaced back to grade with MudTech. Having Wisconsin's premier pavement technicians repair the damage from washed out concrete and asphalt will double the life of your pavement.
MudTech. 262-337-0934.
MudTech resolves every concrete or asphalt problem, leaving your pavement smooth, your life worry-free, and enough money in your bank to take the kind of trip you want to take. MudTechWorks.com.
Warshawski trial attorney Frank Crivello here. Folks, I'm Victor Harding. Frank is selected Best Lawyers 2024 Complex Litigation Lawyer of the Year. More impressive is Victor Harding named Product Liability Attorney of the Year again for 2024. It may sound boastful to mention these prestigious awards. It's not boastful considering if you or someone you love is injured, you need to know 2 attorneys from the same personal injury firm being chosen by other lawyers and judges for these caliber of awards is very rare. Heaven forbid you ever need an injury claim made on your behalf. If you do, the quality of your attorney and law firm will have a greater impact on the outcome than even the facts of your case.
Former clients, other lawyers, judges, law enforcement officers, and even insurance adjusters,
often our adversaries,
refer their family and friends to Warshawski because they know Warshawski will achieve maximum compensation.
Injured? It is about the money.
Warshawski.com.
That's Warshawski.com.
Toasted 25 seasons of American Family Field at the Brewers game on Friday, July 25th. Celebrate with a pregame ceremony, a postgame home run derby featuring Prince Fielder and more legends, plus special offers. Get your tickets at Brewers.com.
Injured? Call Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
I can't think about my Uncle Chris without thinking about the craziest night of my life. The Uncle Chris podcast tells the story of my Uncle Chris, a real character, a garbage truck driver from South Carolina who is now buried alongside the founding families of Panama. Wild stories about adventure, romance, crime, history, and war intertwine as I share the tall tales and hard truths that have helped me understand Uncle Chris. Listen to Uncle Chris on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Follow Uncle Chris and start listening on the free iHeart Radio app today.
This is what matters. This is beyond X's and O's. This is the difference mutual respect makes. This is what character looks like. This is what defines us in Wisconsin. This is sportsmanship. School sports. It's not the outcome that matters most, but the way the games are played. This message presented by the Wisconsin Interscholastic Athletic Association and the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association.
I really hate to do this because I like him as a reporter quite a bit. But WisPolitics.com's J.R. Ross totally burned one of his sources. He just tweeted a couple of minutes ago that a source close to Governor Evers says that he has not made up his mind about whether or not he's going to run for a third term, that his team has not called other Democratic contenders to let them know that he's out, and that there will be, quote, no announcement within the next 24 to 36 hours. That last line was a dead giveaway as to who his source was. Yesterday, Who Did I Say took great exception to me reporting that I didn't report that this was going to happen. I was reporting that this is what people expect is going to happen. It was Britt Cuddeback, who is Governor Evers' spokeswoman. The fact that the no announcement within 24 to 36 hours was prominently mentioned is a dead giveaway that this was Britt saying that, no, Dan O'Donnell's reporting was wrong, when I couldn't have possibly made clearer. I am not reporting that he's out. I am reporting that everybody close to this situation is assuming that he's out and that a decision is imminent. Diane Hasselbein at an event today in which Robin Vining, the crazy member of the state assembly, announced that she's running for state senate. She's going to challenge Rob Hutton in a gerrymandered state senate district where Hutton has been drawn in with like half of Wauwatosa because clearly Democrats want to get him out of the Senate, and they see this as the pickup that's going to deliver them control of the Wisconsin State Senate in 2026. Diane Hasselbein, the state Senate minority leader, said that she expects a decision. This also from J.R. Ross at WISpolitics.com. Now, it's possible that Britt Cutterback wasn't his super secret anonymous source, but she was real ticked off that I said, yeah, people are expecting that this decision is going to come within specifically, the specific time frame was 24 to 36 hours. And that just happens to make its way into JR's tweet. So again, I don't want to, it might not be her. I don't want to burn a source on behalf of JR, but his source is very clearly Britt Cutterback. Britt, you just had to get in that. No, it's not going to happen in 24 to 36 hours. Dan O'Donnell's wrong. He's wrong. Right-wing advocate. He's a agitator. He's not a real journalist. I'm sorry, JR. I do love it. He appears every week with Jay Weber. He's a very, very good journalist. He's been doing this a long time. He's a very fair-minded guy. But I just saw that and could not resist. I could not stop laughing. I'm like, well, this is obviously Britt Cutterback. But Hasselbein thinks the decision is going to come in a week and a half, which, all right, that's fair. All I'm reporting is that multiple sources are telling me they think he's done. Obviously, nobody knows for sure except Evers. Evers might even tell people he's done, and they say, you know what, I've reconsidered. All right? I am just telling you what people are telling me. I have no inside knowledge. Heaven knows I'm not invited to the governor's mansion for pickleball, a nap, and an early turn-in time at about 6:15 p.m. Although that sounds lovely after the long day I've had today. I've got to go coach a baseball game immediately after this. I've been running around like a chicken with my head cut off. By the way, Pocan has responded to me again. He responded, exclusive, Dan O'Donnell thinks he's a journalist, right? I responded to him, since I'm obviously not, why are you so afraid of answering my questions? I then quote tweeted his tweet and said, Congressman, I have repeatedly asked you to come on my show to explain why you have sent 789 tweets to Congressman Van Orden and you have declined. If I am not a journalist, then why are you so afraid to answer my questions? I followed that up by saying, you also did not respond to my repeated offers to moderate the debate between you and Congressman Van Orden live on my show. Again, since I am obviously not a real journalist, what are you afraid of? He responded to that 15 minutes ago. Because you're a right-wing advocate who peddles entertainment to Kool-Aid drinkers, you might as well wear clown shoes and a red nose. Same difference. My apologies to legitimate clowns everywhere. I responded to that. Then my questions should be clownish and therefore easy for you to answer. You're not coulrophobic, so what are you so scared of? Coulrophobia is the clinical term for the fear of clowns. Only us clownish right-wing advocates know that sort of stuff, not esteemed congressmen. The offer stands. I will have Pocan on for a full hour if he wants. I may have to have the dump button handy because he's a fan of very colorful language. But I want some serious answers. Not only is he tweeting at Van Orden dozens of times every single week, he is now holding a town hall event right down the street from Van Orden's home when Van Orden was very public some weeks ago, and again made mention of this on my show just a couple of hours ago, that he has had death threats. pretty obviously what Pocan is trying to do is to get enough people angry at Derek Van Orden that what? They have a little protest party at his house, get the gang back together like it's 2020 when they were doing that form of harassment. I have been getting a ton of questions about what are all the boomers doing on the overpasses. Don't worry, they're not going to jump. This isn't some, ritual suicide like in the cult horror classic film Midsommar, which, by the way, you should watch if you haven't yet. It came out about 4 or 5 years ago. It's a wonderful, wonderful horror film. Everybody who turns 75 has to jump off of this cliff. That's not what the liberal boomers are doing. One listener said they didn't have any signs. They looked like their casino bus got stranded and they were out waving for help. I'm telling you, folks, you can be a boomer. I know a lot of you are. I love the boomers. I do. Conservative boomers, you're the best kind of boomers. You can be a boomer. You can even be a lib. You can even be a crazy lib like Mark Pocan. But if you are a boomer lib, know that you are the cringiest thing on planet Earth, and that the rest of us are suffering and have suffered for nigh on 50 years. Secondhand embarrassment for you. Oh, God, Pocan's 60. He was born August 14th, 1964. You know what that makes him? A boomer lib. See, this is why. This explains the behavior. He is a boomer lib, and therefore he is the most cringe thing on earth. I am reminded that apparently Pocan did this same thing to Paul Ryan back when Ryan was Speaker of the House, and he had, shall we say, a run-in with Secret Service, which didn't want Pocan to hold town halls anymore because he was threatening to do the exact same thing. Folks, when are we going to come to the realization here that the congressman who represents Wisconsin's second biggest city is an absolute nut? This is not sane behavior. And I get, okay, he's, he calls me a clown. Yeah, okay, fine, whatever. If he starts sending me 3, 4, 5 texts a day, I believe the most I counted in one day was something like 15. Then it becomes, I don't care what your title is. I don't care what position you are elected to. It becomes very scary stalker behavior. And I stand by this. This is stalker behavior. This is at the very least an attempt at cyberbullying or cyber harassment. And now it is bleeding over into the real world. If you didn't hear my reporting, Pocan announced on July 15th, where else, on his X account, that he's going to be holding a town hall, not just in Derek Van Orden's district, but in his hometown, or at least in the town that Van Orden lives in. I don't know how much clearer the evidence could be here. He's going to his hometown. So what, he's going to show up at his house now? Honest to goodness, Congressman Pocan, come on and explain yourself. I'm just a clown. You will run intellectual circles around me, that's for sure. But explain, if not to me, to your constituents, because I broadcast to all of them in Madison. Explain to them what is going on with this behavior. Did they elect an actual mentally ill person to the United States Congress? Is the person who is representing Wisconsin's second largest city in the House of Representatives too mentally unstable and too obsessed with another congressman to do his job? Because frankly, on the day when the House should be debating the rescissions package sent to it from the Senate, he seems to have been doing nothing but posting on X all day, mostly at Derek Van Orden. This is seriously disturbing behavior, man. Now let's see if anyone else in the media actually picks up on my reporting. My guess, don't bet on it.
Keep in touch with Dan on Twitter at Dan O'Donnell Show. More of the show is next.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Jam through the roadwork northbound 4145, Watertown Plank to Hampton, southbound Appleton to Capitol, 43 northbound tight in pockets from Fond du Lac all the way up to Bender. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Terminix Batzner. Wake up every morning in a pest-free home with Batzner Pest Control's Pest-Free 365 service, their year-round preventative pest control program. To learn more and to save $50 off your initial pest service, visit Batzner.com today.
I'm Total Health's Jay Johnson. The Falls and New Berlin. Additives, chemicals, and toxins in your diet can miswire the way your genes express themselves. Food is critical for health. Increased energy, better sleep, reversing chronic disease. A healthier, happier, pain-free you is simple. Schedule your free Total Health consult. Holistic health coaches will guide you to a healthier, happier, truly you. Seed oils, the number one source of calories in American diets, were developed as fuel in industrial lubricants. Seed oils cause dozens of chronic illnesses. Big Healthcare's solution to nutritional-related illness is their same solution to all health-related problems. Drugs that also alter the way your genes express themselves, leaving root causes making you increasingly sick over time. What they never tell is eliminate seed oils from your diet, and cutting back on sugar will immediately improve your health. It's true. Total Health finds root causes of sickness, including nutritional deficiencies, then helps you, the whole complete you, achieve wellness. It's not theory. Relativity equals expertise plus execution. TotalHealthInc.com. That's TotalHealthInc.com.
You've got an app for music, an app for photos, maybe even one that helps you sleep. But only one app puts the live radio dial in your pocket and lets you save your favorite stations, playlists, and podcasts as presets. Get the free iHeartRadio app, the #1 app for radio.
Imagine your home totally organized. At Closets by Design, we specialize in providing affordable, custom-built storage solutions with built-ins and beyond. From walk-in closets to entertainment centers, our experienced designers work within your budget to design a solution fit perfectly to your needs. Get 40% off plus an additional 15% with 18-month financing. Visit closetsbydesign.com or call 1-800-BY-DESIGN to get started. Let's get organized together.
I'm Dave Brownsdorf, president of Flawless Flooring. Realtor.com says depending on location and a few other factors, new hardwood floors add as much as 2.5% to home sale value, even if you plan to sell. Enjoy home more now while increasing your sale price with Flawless's LVP, hardwood, or amazing realistic, super wear-resistant modern laminate plank. Steamy wet dog and litter box aromas bother homeowners and buyers. But you say, Dave, we want the sound deadening and warmth underfoot of carpet? Our Delafield and New Berlin showrooms have countless style and combination flooring choices, including quality luxury carpet lines. Steamy stains and carpet stink, including pet fluids, wipe-off Flawless Flooring's luxury vinyl plank, and modern laminate plank, zero steam effortlessly. Our employee-only craftsmen meticulously refinish existing hardwood, even perfectly blending additional hardwood with existing. With Flawless's nothing-down, zero-interest financing, upgrade today and pay over 21 months. Sensory underload Flawless Flooring. FlawlessFlooringLLC.com.
Homeowners across Wisconsin trust WeatherPro Exteriors for the best in roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Voted Milwaukee's 2024 top choice. We are proud to deliver the highest quality and service. Right now, get $1,000 off a full roof replacement, plus a $200 Quick Trip gift card. Your home is your biggest investment. Make sure it's protected with top quality roofing, siding, windows, and doors built to last. Visit WeatherProExteriors.com today.
The One Big Beautiful Bill spans over 800 pages and introduces provisions and policy shifts that could impact your taxes and retirement. It marks a significant overhaul of the government's role across multiple sectors. As the implications unfold, questions abound. Annex Wealth Management. for your questions. It's a valuable learning opportunity for everybody. Register today at annexwealth.com/events.
Simplify keeps you safe, warm, and dry. For a free estimate, go to simplifyroofing.com.
In 21st century America, it's hard to know who or what to believe. The bureaucracy embraces its own agenda. The news media vilifies traditional American values. Social media is a sewer of disinformation. News Talk 1130 WISN is the counterpoint to all of it. We believe in intellectual honesty, and we believe that good and decent people are more than capable of processing that honesty and be better off for it. Believe us, because we believe in you. News Talk 1130 WISN, offering the latest information and the greatest analysis. Stay informed all day, every day on News Talk 1130 WISN.
If I gave you a list of every possible team that could have signed Damian Lillard after he was waived by the Bucks, how many guesses would it take? Probably one. It's exactly the team that you're thinking it was. The Portland Trail Blazers have signed Lillard to a 3-year, $42 million contract to return to the team that he never, ever, ever wanted to leave. And it was abundantly clear. He was a consummate professional after he was traded. He said all the right things, but it was obvious in the couple of seasons that he spent here in Milwaukee that he was never happy. He was just going through a divorce, meaning his kids had to stay behind in Portland. That's where he played his entire career. His entire life was there. Well, according to ESPN, Lillard and the Trailblazers both deeply cared about a reunion in recent weeks, with multiple meetings among the Portland franchise icon, general manager Joe Cronin, and head coach Chauncey Billups to bond together and move forward united on a new deal. The Bucks waived Lillard. They stretched the remaining $113 million on his contract to sign free agent center Miles Turner. Between his Portland and Milwaukee deals, Lillard will now have a salary of $70 million next season. He's not expected to play at all because he tore his Achilles in the playoffs against the Indiana Pacers. So good to see a happy ending for a good guy. I mean, a guy who was a disaster in the trade. The Bucks never should have dealt Drew Holiday. With the benefit of hindsight, I don't think you make that move again. He will have a salary of $141 million over the next 2 years, ahead of an opt-out in 2017. Wow. Lillard turned down mid-level exception offers, and NBA contenders were offering the veterans minimum to join them and perhaps win an NBA championship for the first time in his career. But he said his children and being with them were of utmost importance. His entire extended family was there. His mom, I know he's got a brother and a number of other close family members. They all moved to Portland because he was there forever, and just it was assumed he was going to be there forever. So good for him. Not great for the Bucks, who are now paying a guy not to play for them. Dan O'Donnell Show done for the day. Fear not, though. We are back with the Friday edition tomorrow afternoon. Talk to you then.